Ugh. Well, what's going on, everybody? This is the Cloud9 podcast season in your. Whoa, wait a minute. Hold up. Let's put some pimping in it. Nah, just kidding. What's going on, guys? This is the Cloud9 podcast season 4, episode 10. We're going to be talking all things LCS, Team Liquid, and the World's 2022 group draw show that took place after the World's 2022. Okay, so I pretty much butchered this entire intro. Oh goodness, guys! Literally just woke up from a nap and my brain is like all kind of mush right now. But it's okay. It's okay. All right, reset your mind and your mental. Right, reset.
How about you just stop talking? This is unbearable.
Oh yeah, true.
I just woke up, but this is making me wake up now. Listening to your bullshit.
Me saying how smart I am, actually.
Holy fuck.
So yes, everyone, this is the Cloud9 podcast, season 4, episode 10. We are going to be covering Team Liquid, the LCS 2022 Summer Split Finals, and the Worlds 2022 group draw show. And then I'll be explaining to you guys why morons in the scene will never really understand what really goes on in the LPL and the LCK, because later on, as I was thinking about this when I was in the shower, completely touching myself to double its face, is simply trying to get people to understand is like, why do people just like think that LPL and LCK teams are simply just bad for other reasons? I don't know. Personally, right now, this is crazy given how all that's worked. But what do you think?
I mean, the regions have definitely regressed, I think, but I mean, that doesn't mean NA and EU hasn't in some regards as well, or that are like close to the level yet. I mean, they just look at their bad moments and have it stuck in their head. They just they just remember shit like Jackie Love flashing in the fucking JDG in Game 5.
That was ridiculous to see.
Hey, listen, we finally have our LPL Jensen Echo moment now.
Now all we need is that same moment in the LCK and in EU. That's all we need. All right, so let's really go over today. So I'll probably write in the private chat all the stuff to cover. So we'll do Danny, EG. We have Team Liquid. We have the LCS 2022 Summer Split Finals and Worlds 2022 Group Draw Show. There we go.
Yeah, I was saying, but at this point if Faker still wants to keep playing at this stage in his career instead of retire this year, with how he's been playing. And honestly, it being best for T1 probably at this point if they actually find a new mid. I mean, and his contract is up this year. So do you think T1 is actually gonna like counter with a huge contract this time if someone like TL or TSM offers a ginormous contract?
This is my thing. I don't think he'd ever come to North America. That's not worth it for him. At this point in his career, it's just not worth it.
I mean, well, if you want to make the money, then but
he's only going to pay. It wouldn't matter about that. He's already getting the max contract deal from T1. I mean, in theory, North America might pay him more, but they tried to get a new mid laner. Was it last year, right? Because they didn't go to World. No, the year before that, or the year that they were swapping all the players in and out consistently. No, that was last year. I remember they tried to play closer. Then at some point they just settled on Faker because maybe he was like certain intangibles that he had that maybe Closer didn't. I mean, Closer didn't go to Worlds, but Faker did. It's kind of weird.
Both were good, but it's just good at different things and what the team needed. They needed with it. A lot of people saying at that time they should have had Closer, and instead you're an idiot. No, they. With what that team roster needed of Kana, Owner, Gumayushi, all them, they needed Faker in there. But I mean, now now, obviously, yeah. I mean, I would say have closer, maybe, but I mean, he still struggles with certain things, though, that Faker's good at. But I mean, I don't know. I honestly just think like, whatever. It's hard to say. Like, does he have like enough left in him to keep going? I don't know. But
What's the thing? If Faker gets exempt from military service, then you could still use him because he hasn't been the best mid laner for a long time, but he's never been anything outside of the top 4. The problem here is if there's a split where there's someone better than him with the better team, they're just gonna end up losing. It was so weird how they were just undefeated earlier this year. I mean, you're thinking to themselves, what's really going on here? Well, I mean, they did play very well earlier this year in spring, so it makes sense like they were good in spring. But I don't know, like when it came to summer,
they didn't adapt to the shift. That's all.
Or their players aren't good enough to play those champions. It could be this, that too. Or those players aren't strong enough to play those champions. Because people were telling me that Zeus is like really flexible and shit, and I watched the games and I was like, no, he's just not as good. He picked Kennen against G2 earlier this year, and that did not work out very well. But when he played a champion like Jace, or he played a champion like Gangplank, he was very fine on it. I don't know why people get into this mindset of this player is very flexible because they play like 1 or 2 champions good. It's like that's not what being flexible is. Being flexible pretty much means like if you were to play a tank and you were to play a carry, ideally the same, then that is kind of what being flexible is. You can play different styles and it still kind of amount to the same thing.
Shut up, man. Are you not saying Huni Nar is not flexible? Fuck off.
If Huni is flexible, then we're all gonna be dead. I mean, Huni was at one point flexible.
I mean, Armut plays a lot of champions, man.
Armut, holy shit.
Yeah, he plays Nar and Nar.
And also Nar.
Yeah, and some Nar and sometimes some Renekton in there, and then Nar. More Nar. Sometimes some Aatrox, Nar, and then finally Nar. A great champion pool.
Big champion pool as well. Now, I'm going to go and put my usual caption on the stream. So anyone who's watching this, make sure you guys like the stream, comment down below, subscribe if you're new. I know we had a bit of more people subscribing after all the content that I ended up putting out this past week. And don't worry, guys, I have more content coming. I literally just did another video that I'm going to drop for you guys tomorrow because I don't want to blow my load on content, obviously, at the moment, because we're going to be in some like content drought for a little bit there because, we don't have Worlds isn't until like October 7th, actually, 7th to 10th, because the play-ins start on the 7th. So we won't have any content for about 2 weeks. So there's a reason why I've been doing like all the rumor videos that I told you guys I was going to end up doing. I told you guys that I was going to be starting up a brand new series. So we're going to be talking about all that stuff in just a moment. I have it all written down right here. If you guys are going to do this right now.
Okay, hold on. Just imagine this, all right? The shy speak Faker. Team Liquid.
Takes drink.
At this point, I'm sure they could get the Shy and Faker of how they've been playing, but
Hey, TSM got Sword Art, one of the best supports of all time.
Oh
yeah. Like that's always been one of my biggest problems with League of Legends too, is people just overrating certain players at certain events. No one was saying that Sword Art was a bad player, but he overperformed at this event. So that's not going to be the Sword Art that you're going to be getting when you get him. That's what people were telling him.
They didn't know what his strength. It's like, did they even scout him? Like, they just assumed he had a certain play style because he fucking kept inting on like Leona at that tournament while his team wins. It's like, no, he's not a fucking, like, engaging support. He's not an engaged machine. That's not what he does. Holy fuck, whatever. But I mean, what Team Liquid should do is keep Santorin, play the 2 or so players from your academy squad that you think are the greatest, and then
Was it,
import 2 players. Cloud9 did, like Berserker, that strategy.
So we're gonna
They
go
should
over
do.
all that in just a moment. I have to bring up the stream really quickly and put a caption in, and we're gonna start going. So, yeah, second, guys. Want to get that nice little brief talk out of the way. I know people like it when we break the ice or whatever. It's something that I usually always pretty much do. And we'll start going into the topics right now. So we have a loaded show today, guys, because what I have to explain to you guys is something that people just don't understand. Later on, when we get to talk about worlds, actually, I'll explain to you why people are always down on the West. I'll have to actually break it down. And if you want to clip this part out to have yourself as a video, which I'm going to end up doing, then we're going to get to that point. Because I know people are always like, but every one of you guys are just so negative on the fucking West. It's like, no, there's a good reason why people are negative on the West. The only reason why I'm not as negative is because I root for certain teams in the West. I root for G2. I root for Cloud9, But if I didn't root for them, I'd be pretty hard on them personally. Now, I'm not hard on them because I'm biased toward them, or I'm not hard on them because I like them and I root for them. It's just more like, I think sometimes people just don't ever evaluate the strengths these teams are bringing to the table. These people aren't actually understanding why they actually got the wins that they did. It wasn't really because of how strong they are, because you have to evaluate certain things that go into them, It's just how it works.
Yeah,
but
well, I just wish these delusional, EU fanboys will admit for once in their lives that, you're in the same fucking boat as NA. Shut the fuck up. All right, like I'm sorry, this is getting ridiculous. Anytime. No, here's the thing. Anytime they fucking make it far, which is most of the time they make it far to NA, it's like at Worlds, like, some of their teams make it through, and like one team makes the top 4 or something. It's like, yeah, but that isn't because they're like great or competitors with fucking China and Korea. It's just they happen to be slightly better than NA still, and so the third best. So of course, then their all team is going to make it up there, or they're going to have a bit more success, because they just squeak in there because that China and Korea, can only send. Can only have like 6 or 5 teams usually up there, but that doesn't mean shit. All right, that's basically just automatically being placed there. You're still barely much better at all than NA with your fucking history. Take out G2 that 1 year, all right, and you're almost the fucking same.
Like, if you take out Fnatic and G2, that's pretty much it.
Not even Fnatic, because we're not counting season 1.
Right? No, it was season 8 when they made the finals.
Yes, but that was just because of a weak bracket side. I mean, that's the other thing. It's just they get lucky as well sometimes, just like sometimes with NA.
Well, I mean, it's not about it being not lucky. I mean, I agree it's luck, but still something that they did. I can't just take that away from them. That's literally what happened. I mean,
it's the same thing with Cloud9 some years, all right?
Yeah, it's just like, two things can be true. They can get lucky, but they still did the accomplishment itself. I mean, most people know if they faced KT Rolster, they would have lost.
That was the easiest bracket side in like World's history. Yeah, it's the same thing with H2K making top 4.
Yeah, like, I've never downed on EU for their accomplishments, but just because you have accomplishments doesn't mean they're the same vein as accomplishments as someone like, I don't know, like RNG, who've won international competitions consistently. They place top 4 at Worlds consistently. They're always getting at group stage consistently. And this is something we can see in the team being good. It's not like, oh, they're kind of lucking out and winning. No, sometimes with EU, a lot of these teams have kind of just lucked out to win. But that's just how the competition goes. Like, if a team is more clutch in a certain moment, then that's all that matters, though. I mean,
besides 2019, listen, all right? Just I want you to picture this, all right? Imagine there's like 10 people in a race, all right?
In a race.
And the first and second place people are LPL and LCK.
Yeah.
All right, and they cross the finish line in like 5 minutes. and then the third place person is LEC, and they cross the finish line in like 30 minutes. And then the fourth place person is LCS, who crosses it in 31 minutes. So right behind EU, but just slightly worse, obviously. All right, so then LEC gets the bronze. They were like 25 minutes behind the LPO and LCK still, though. You're just automatically placed there because the other 7 fucking runners are bad as well. All right, that's no accomplishment. Shut up. You are nowhere near Korea and China right now, outside of that 1 year with G2. Fucking stop.
So my thing with how EU performs is like some of the times, yeah, some of the players on those teams are good. Like I'm not saying the players are always bad.
Oh, unfiltered, yay.
Unfiltered. Oh, hi Phil, how you doing, man? So usually when it comes to like how EU teams perform, like some of them actually have played spoiler. Some teams that they've sent have been better than certain teams, but usually when they're better than certain teams, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see them beating that team because that team wasn't good to begin with. But then when they face a team that's actually just better, they just lose. Like if you take the H2K example, H2K had a not even just an easy group. EDG looked like shit, despite EDG also playing good. Earlier in the year, they kind of just fell out and kind of just really went shit in groups, and then in quarterfinals they kind of just went to shit because they faced Rocks Tigers because they got the second seed, which was pretty much like death right there. Anyone who's gonna face Rocks Tigers, and then you're gonna lose anyway. So that's just how it works. So for anyone who's watching right now, before we go into the Worlds talk later on, Phil, I like you. You're awesome. Yeah, I don't. Half the things Sean says, my brain just fries anyway. It's like he's actually always talking out his ass. So
wait, always talking what are you talking about?
It's just like he's so biased.
Because I said, "Oh, filter, yeah."
Everything he says.
No, it's because I was surprised to see him on the League of Legends stream.
This guy, it's everything he says is pure hyperbole and such bullshit. And if you bring up one few points, his points just all crumble.
What are you talking about?
It seems you ever played Jenga as a kid?
Name an example when I'm not clearly just fucking with you where that's the case. Go ahead.
So this is the thing. You ever play Jenga where you take the little brick out? You insert 1 point into Sean's logic, just collapses.
No. That is not the case at all. What are you talking about?
Someone give me a Jenga can, and I'm gonna build blocks for Sean. And
you are actually delusional. You keep saying this to like fuck with me, but then you won't pinpoint even a single example. And then when you do, it's examples of me where I'm just messing with somebody. I figured out how MSK, thinks about me and on Twitter, though. Okay, so what he does is he will read a thread with me having a debate with someone that is like 30 tweets long, and I will be delivering all the facts and absolutely destroying the other person where he has basically nothing left to say.
Remember, guys, destroying opinions. That's great. Yeah.
No, not opinions, because we'll be having a debate.
These aren't facts. These are opinions.
No.
That's what really happens.
No, that's different. No, that's different. That's me just those threads are me just fucking with people, just getting under skin, because it's Twitter, but for fun, because just friends, but no, but on the other ones, yeah. Like, we'll just be having, like, a debate on certain things. And then, yeah, they'll eventually have nothing left to say. They'll throw in the towel. I'll bring all the facts. However, this is what MSK will do. MSK will not read the entire thread because he has a reading disability and stop at, like, the 15th tweet where the other guy says something that I then completely destroy in the tweet right below it. But he will stop there, so he won't read the tweet below it. And then he'll just respond to the 15th tweet from the guy saying facts, and then show up to the stream, one of his streams 2 hours later saying, "Yo, Sean got destroyed again on Twitter today." Yeah, that's what you do. I figured out your strategy.
He's so biased and hyperbolic that anyone brings up a different point of view of thinking, he's like, "That can't be possible. You think differently than me.
What are
You're a human?" It's exactly what happens.
You mean when I'm joking? What do you mean?
Oh no, these aren't jokes. I think he parades these things as jokes, but then he gets called out for it. And he's like, I gotta change it.
It's clearly obvious when I'm joking or not.
You're Canadian, so you guys
people have brought up other points all the time when I'm debating them, and I don't do that at all. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't agree, but cool. I don't know what universe you're living in, MSK. What fantasy universe?
I've been living in a universe where I have sex every day.
I think you're just remembering like one case where I was shit posting, but you believe in your mind that I wasn't. And now not only do you believe that I wasn't, but now you believe that that's me in every scenario now.
I just love tilting this guy. This is so funny. And then when you destroy his point, he has nothing. He just goes, oh, all right.
Well, when has that happened? Go ahead.
Oh,
you give me an example.
I don't need examples. It's the internet. I can just make statements and just believe that they're true. That's what Jeremy does that from Geeks and Gamers, and no one he never gets called out for it.
Remember, TL and TSM will go undefeated this Worlds.
Oh, that is true. TL and TSM will definitely go undefeated. Actually. Oh my goodness! Exactly.
Playing the game is trash because of this fan base, but I mean, watching it is pretty fun though.
All right, so this is the channel update portion of the show. Okay, basically, we're gonna end up starting a brand new series on the channel itself when World starts up. So right when the World schedule gets put out for the play-ins, we'll start the series on the channel. I'll reveal the name and everything when I have that schedule available to me. Then what I'm going to end up doing for Worlds 2022 this year, I wanted to push more Cloud9 podcast episodes because remember, guys, after Worlds, there is literally no more League of Legends anything. All you have in November is just that free open agency period where you get to know where the players are going, to which team they're going to be joining, right? Then after that, you have December, and it's just kind of like what would you call it? It's like the remainder players you see and hear about going to teams. So like usually you'll hear about LEC and LCS first, then you'll hear about LCK. LCK is usually in December. That's kind of when they can do like their roster moves and stuff like that. And then after that, that's it. So I want to make sure I'm giving you guys enough content for Worlds because we're just not going to have much outside of like the open agency period. Also, I'm going to try and, get more out to you guys. It just depends on what you guys really want to see. So I know you guys are going to like this new series that I'm going to start because, I've been working on it for quite a bit of time. And I think it's something that you guys enjoy because I've been kind of checking out the landscape and seeing what's actually going to go on. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I already told you guys why I changed the channel name. I thought it was just better overall. I like the other name we had. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, he likes generic standard names,
Exactly. And then so yeah, that's pretty much it for the channel update. I'll have a video breaking down more so I'll talk about, but that's just the general gist of it.
No, the game is trash, period. The fans make other fan bases look like angels and say, I mean, have you seen the Snyder fan base now? I think that beats it. Okay. One of the most, if not the most toxic fan base to ever exist. I mean, that's true, but I mean, it's as long as you just stay away from them though, just watch it, And, also we were going to review the players show, but, MSK saw a black guy in it. So,
Oh, yeah. That's not
now we're not.
Can't have a black guy in these shows. What the heck?
Yeah.
That would be something I would review because that's something the channel would be like capable of doing. But I just wasn't interested because I was never that guy that goes like, man, I would love to see like League on ESPN. It's like, no, I don't want to see that. That sounds kind of cool when you think about it, but it just sounds stupid because it's like, well, why? That seems so off balance. That seems like, okay, it's not even a culture fit. Why would I want to see an LCS broadcast on ESPN? Why can't you see it on YouTube? Like I've been seeing it for the last 8 years. It's just them trying to make like esports more mainstream. It's like I really could care less about that. It's already big enough. Like basic LCS players, you want to go actually be part of LCS teams, their fucking followers shoot up and shit. So, doesn't really mean anything. Oh shit. If Bjergsen gets Chovy, that I'll literally get a rope and jump off a bridge on stream if that ever happens. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's it for the channel updates right now. When Worlds 2022, the schedule appears for play-ins. New series will start. I think I'll include Warren and Sean into that. I'm gonna definitely show you guys what it's gonna be about. Then we're gonna be pushing more Cloud9 podcast episodes during the tournament. So you'll probably have an episode that Wednesday still, but we're gonna have an episode later on that week. So you'll be getting one episode that day and one episode later on to kind of cover what's gonna end up happening. But that might change, but we'll try and put out more episodes. At least 2 episodes a week when Worlds is going on. I hope. That's what I hope for, because I want to make sure I give you guys a lot. So that's it for that stuff. That's our general first part of the show. And we're going to end up moving on to Danny and EG. So I know that people had their interesting opinions of Danny and Evil Geniuses, because Danny had ended up basically stepping down due to mental health reasons. Now, you can't really speculate on that kind of thing, you know, because you just wouldn't know what he's going through. And I'm not saying that EG is at fault. I'm not saying that Danny is at fault for what happened. They made Worlds 2022. They're obviously, you know, in a better spot than Team Liquid going forward. That's definitely true. I mean, Evil Geniuses season continues. Team Liquid will not be. Now, here's the thing. Is I know people didn't bring this up. And LCS orgs and most organizations do this, where, you know, situations like this will happen in the past. They'll play another player. That player is on par with the player that stepped down, and then they just kind of keep that player that they just brought on. Because yes, Danny had to step down for, you know, mental health reasons, but Kaori showed, well, at least just on Lucian, he can definitely be on par with Danny, and maybe better.
Okay, yes, but, well,
potentially.
Yeah, there's things you have to remember. Kaori takes up an import slot, and he's a lot older, and his champion pool is a lot more limited. So, I mean, even if he's on even with Danny, I mean, they would still keep Danny in that situation. He still has room to grow, you know, still fits better as a bigger champion pool, I think. I mean, and, you know, like people like Impact have been kind of struggling with if they, you know, need an upgrade and want to import a top laner, they can't keep Kaori.
Well, the thing here is, even if Danny has more champions he can play, he's not really exactly better at them anyway. It's not like
not recently because of his mental health, but
I mean, even when he was fine, he looked okay on them. Wasn't like a dominant ADC to begin with.
Well, not in the early game, but, you know, in the mid to late
in
game.
Team fighting in late game, he was good.
Yes,
but
well, that's what his specialty was. I mean,
that's kind of just how I see it. Like, orgs will definitely cut a player if they see the benefit to. Like, I don't care what they say. That's bullshit to begin with. Like, Jensen got Team Liquid, Worlds consistent. Jensen got Team Liquid to Worlds more than one occasion. Titles, MSI finals that year. They're like, you know, fuck you. We're kicking you out. Here's Bjergsen, a player who's been fucking overrated for years, actually. You know? Yeah. Also, Danny also lost. Yeah, Danny's okay. Danny's a good player. I'm not saying he's bad. He's a top 4 AD carry, but he's nothing super dominant. Like, you can definitely upgrade him, and you wouldn't miss him, honestly. And I don't believe orgs are as sentimental as people think. They will cut you if there's an opportunity for a potential better player. I mean, Team Liquid just did that going into this year. They cut Jensen after his Worlds performance for Bjergsen, a player who didn't even play in 2021, and in the previous Worlds went 0-6. 0-6. He didn't win a single game, and he had one game where he actually played well on Lucian. And they cut Jensen for that. That's what they cut for. So I know, like, Evil Genius's org owner, CEO, she was like, yeah, we're a family and all that stuff. Guys, don't believe that. That is horseshit. Okay, if they have a player like Kaori, who's definitely not bad, it's actually pretty solid from what I saw. As long as he's on par with Danny, they might just end up keeping Kaori in the long term. But it also depends on Danny's mental state. It really does depend on that, you know, because they already kind of confirmed that, you know, he is going to be with them at Worlds 2022. Now, if he plays well at Worlds 2022 later on this year, I think he has an even more bigger case for them to keep him on the roster, you know, because I think he wouldn't take up an import. No, he does take up an import slot because they have no, Impact is a resident. Inspired is your only import, actually. Inspired actually your only import. Impact's a resident. Joe Chappelle's a resident, Vulcan's a resident, so he slots in just fine. I don't know what the hell this guy was talking about earlier, but okay. It's just wrong. But that's what I see it personally. They could just play him and they'll do just fine. Because remember, there's always going to be someone who takes your spot. There's always going to be someone who wants to take your spot. You're competing at the highest level. So if there's a chance for someone else to take someone's spot, that person will do it. And if the org sees it as a super benefit, they'll do it. Then not only that, let's really keep this in. Even if when Danny does come back, will he be as good? I mean, will he be as motivated? There's all types of situations you have to kind of consider when you're bringing back someone. Also, you just got the team pretty much on board with also this new guy. So they're going to go. So they just played the 3rd place match for the LCS 2022 Summer Split Finals with Kaori. They're going to go through all the play-in stage games with him. And if they get out of the play-in stage, like most people predict, they're going to also play more games with him. So they're also going to be able to scrim with him as well. If they go to a boot camp, they'll scrim with him, which is also something super beneficial. There's going to be all these like games where you'll have Kaori over Danny, and that's going to be something where if Kaori is already acclimated to the team, it's like, why do you bring back Danny? Like Pure Vector, Danny did not play good like during the summer split. Like he was good to start off with, but he was a player where they literally gave him Seraphine because none of his champions were ever working. If you gave him Zeri, every player on Zeri popped off. Even as bad as LCS 80 carries, every one of them popped off on Zeri. It's fucking Zeri. It's like when you gave junglers Viego or you gave fucking ADCs Aphelios. You know? They pop off. That's how it works. If you have a champion that broken, they're going to pop off. But when Danny was on Sivir, I don't know, didn't look as good. When Danny was on, what was it? Fucking the other, they gave him Seraphine bot consistently. That's where that really comes from. They gave Danny Seraphine bot lane consistently because he just wasn't able to carry them, you know? Or because remember, Danny initially was supposed to be a player they put a lot of the resources into, and you get him through the laning phase, and then you actually get him, you know, to the team fight, and he would just, you know, be a cleanup ADC, so to speak, because he was really good at team fighting. Now, when you give a player like Danny something like Zeri, yeah, he's gonna look even more exceptional on it. Now, if this guy starts underperforming because you started putting in a lot of resources into him, and it starts to look bad. I mean, even the game where they beat Team Liquid just last week when he was on Misfortune, he did very well, which is weird. This is so weird. He did well in the laning phase in that game, actually. But in team fighting, he just started mispositioning. He started like ulting at random times. He started going in for trades he shouldn't have. Like most ADCs outside of like Sivir and I'll say Seraphine and most ADCs like Sivir, Zeri, he did like okay on. And then if it wasn't just those two, he was like pretty much shit on the other ones, and they just played him on Seraphine. Now, was this Evil Genius's thing of, okay, he's playing really bad right now, and you could tell from the player cam, he was just messing up. He was just not being himself, you know, so maybe his performances in scrims were really affecting his mental health to the point where like maybe the team just lost faith in him. So they kind of like came up with this excuse to like bench him, but it comes off like it's mental health, but the actual reason is he's just not been playing that good. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to do that, and I don't think they should do that because that sounds kind of weird. I mean, you could just like bench him because his performances just wasn't that good, but maybe they think the community scrutiny would be too hard on him, you know, if they announced that he would be benched for, you know, performance issues. And you could see it if they announced him being benched for performance issues. Let's be honest here. You would anyone disagree? It'd be like, yeah, he's definitely not been playing good. So putting in Kaori would just make more sense. Now I get why they really could not have put in Kaori because I've seen the videos you guys have probably seen. Yeah, I mean, EG has been definitely doing some weird, underhanded rule, like let's see, finding loopholes in like these LCS rules to get in players like that. But that's just how I see the Danny situation is. Like, Kaori was actually able to win most of his laning phases when they faced off against 100 Thieves, you know, this past week. So that's something you need to consider too, is like, yes, Danny is good in team fighting, and he's definitely good later in the game. But him losing laning phases like that is really, really concerning, especially if you're going to face like world-class ADCs. That's you're going to lose every game doing that. If he goes and if they were to have played Danny, and they would have even gotten the playing stage, because I know people are going to want us to talk about this too. So my thing here is, let's say EG did have Danny, and they made the playing stage. Like, EG, credit to them, they beat every single wildcard team anyway. I don't think wildcard teams were ever their competition. I mean, EG literally stomped the wildcard teams at MSI 2022. It was even close, actually. So that wasn't the problem. The problem is that when you face actual competition and aren't wildcard teams, him having a bad laning phase like that is going to be a problem. Remember, guys, they lost to G2 6 times, actually. Most of that wasn't even just the other lanes. Most of that was just Danny and Vulcan just getting gapped in lane. So having Danny play at Worlds was definitely going to be a liability if his laning phase was in question, like a lot of people say. If most people bring up the fact that he had a bad laning phase, how do you think that bad laning phase would go against players like, I don't know, fucking Deft, Ruler, Viper, Upset, you know, JDG's ADC? I forgot his name, actually. How do you think that would go? Pretty bad.
Yeah, you really don't remember JDG. He's fucking.
I forgot. They all sound the same. It's probably like
you dumb fuck.
Well, I thought it was Ying Yang Long Long or some shit.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Like, imagine Danny going up against Gala. Oh wait, I don't have to imagine that. We saw that, and it was very bad. It was horrible.
I mean, that went very well.
Also, they probably shouldn't have given him Kaisa, but
Danny stomped his ass. What are you talking
about?
Like,
Danny couldn't even beat Flakked. Let's go. Danny couldn't, guys. He literally couldn't even beat Flakked. People think he's going to do fine against fucking Gala. Wait, we don't have to imagine that. We saw it, actually. Like, this is things we've seen with our eyes. So, what I'm bringing up to finish off this EG topic I'm bringing up is, I think he was literally just benched because of his bad performance, and it was just worded because of mental health. Because when you word something like mental health, people could just go, oh, it's my mental health. He's probably just having problems at home, or he's maybe burnt out. You know, but if you bench him for bad play or definitely not doing as well, like they hoped he would.
I mean, they can sell him for huge amounts, you know, next season if they want to. If they just, you know, word it as mental health and not playing for the rest of the year, and then go with someone else.
Yeah, like remember when TSM benched Tactical? Everyone pretty much went like, okay, they benched Tactical because he's playing like shit, right? But EG thought of the other angle. What if we bench him, but we call it mental health? And now this is also kind of why I think Danny was looking like he did in the player cam, which is, I think he knew he was most likely going to get benched because of his bad gameplay and not just being up to the standard that even he thought he would be during the playoffs, actually. Yeah, and I think at some point he knew it. And
you're being kind of an asshole, MSK. All right, part of it is mental health, probably.
No, what I'm talking about is that could be a part of it, but him also not playing good kind of gives it two folds to play with.
Yes, obviously you're going to be upset if you don't play well. I mean,
yeah, he's upset he doesn't play well, but also what he can know is maybe the coaches were like, hey, let's probably try out Kaori in some spring, see how it goes. That probably isn't going to go very well from him. But I think that's my thing. I think it's better for Danny to have it worded as mental health, but I wouldn't put it past EG to have benched him because he was playing bad. You know, that's what I'll say. Yeah, there's the substitute loop that they played with. Yeah, Danny versus Viper. That would have you gotten completely shit stomped. Like, people need to understand, this is not stuff you imagine. Because I know back in the day, like with some players, people would say like, "Oh, good. So imagine him against this guy. Imagine this against this guy," and then we see it, and it doesn't really play out like people really expect. But we don't have to imagine Danny versus international ADCs. We already saw that he couldn't even beat Guma Yusi when he was running it down himself. Factor that in. Guma Yusi was power ranked to be one of the best players at MSI 2022 earlier this year. He couldn't even beat him when he was off his game. Imagine that. Now, that's just the 3 ADCs he had to compete with. Because, let's be honest here, they weren't going to compete with PSG talent. Like, there's G2, and there was RNG, and there was T1. So the only ADCs you're really competing with is their ADCs, right? you're not going to be competing against fucking people like Unified and people like that. Like, he's going to be better than them. The problem here is that when you face up against better players, you just get destroyed. And the thing here is that there's no imagination with that. He's literally just worse than them. And not only that, having a bad laning phase against international competition automatically just means that team pretty much just wins. So EG saved Danny's career, and they also give him an out potentially if he wants to either retire for a little bit and then come back, or the word of mouth on Danny is still so good that another team will end up trying him out, and then they can get Kaori to play for them. Orgs, do not trust orgs, guys. They'll cut people. That's how it works. And I think people don't think this goes on, but it definitely does. Like, people aren't as nice as they always say on like Twitter and shit like that, you know? I think Danny's player value goes down after Team Liquid versus Evil Geniuses. That will definitely be a conversation people will have, you know, on like Reddit and stuff like that, or other like casters on their shows will do. You know, like I think Thorin and Monty had a part of that on their show too. That's just my thing, you know, because like, remember when Doublelift was having issues on Team Liquid? I think it was about like last year, actually. No, not just last year, in 2020. Remember when Doublelift was having issues with Team Liquid? And then when they played Tactical that 1 week when Doublelift was sick, Tactical played very well in that 1 week. And then Team Liquid went, this guy's playing better than Doublelift just in this week. Doublelift's not motivated.
Well, no, it's because of other reasons. Like, Doublelift and them were basically done with each other for other reasons. And nothing to do with performance, even though his performance was dog shit.
Well, it's a combination of two things. His performance was bad. This other guy right now is motivated to play. So you kind of get a win-win there. And Team Liquid saw that and went, you know what? Do I really need Doublelift? And then Doublelift goes to TSM and then they win. So it's just how it works, guys.
What do you mean win? I don't remember that part.
Are you Ray Charles? Is that how it works?
No, I just remember.
Sean's confirmed he's Ray Charles.
I remember the split getting canceled. You know, the DQ'd because TSM, you know, rigged it. That's all I remember. Sorry, guys.
All right, so that's pretty much me talking about Danny and EG. Do I think that Danny could play for EG going into the LCS 2023 spring split? All of that is going to be dependent on how Worlds goes. Because I don't think EG are in any danger of losing to the wildcard teams. I mean, we just saw them play against wildcard teams. If you just take out Danny, you get another ADC there. I think the results are the same. I think they win all the games. They won all the games that they should have won against the wildcard teams. They didn't drop games to wildcard teams, which is fine. So that means if you just go off that, they could potentially, you know, although it's going to be getting out of play-in stage, you know, that's just how I see it personally. All right, so now we're going to talk about the good stuff. The good stuff is we have our winner. Cloud9 are your LCS 2022 Summer Split Champions. Woohoo!
Okay, Thor, hit me.
Whew. Cloud9 are your champions. They win their 5th LCS title. So they won 2 with High, guys. 1 with Niski, 1 with Perks, and they won 1 with Jensen. They have 5 titles. They are now the 2nd winningest org in the LCS behind TSM, who have 7 trophies.
6, you mean?
Team Liquid is the 3rd winningest org because they have 4, and then CLG is your 5th, and then you have EG and 100 Thieves. So there you go. Cloud9 win their 5th title, and of course I was happy.
You forgot FlyQuest's title from summer 2020.
Oh, yeah. Are they giving out trophies for dust and air?
Well, I mean, they did in summer 2020 with who won. So
yeah, and, you know, when I look at TSM's trophy cabinet, they have a trophy for that split in that year.
Yeah,
if I go to FlyQuest, they don't have anything
for that rig split. Yeah.
But one is an actual something that I can see with my own eyes. The other
is no. The only thing I can see is that 0-6 right in front of it.
All right, so we're gonna be going over the playoff matches. Talking about those right now. 100 Thieves versus Evil Geniuses. I mean, what did the series really boil down to? I'll be honest here, guys. I thought 100 Thieves would just beat them a lot more easier because I thought it was going to go 3-1. Now, the way Kaori played, there was a good chance EG could have won the series. In game 3, when there was the Rift Herald take and they were actually ahead in lane, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, EG should definitely win this. I don't know what really happened to Evil Geniuses throughout the series, because I'm being honest here, they kind of did look like the better team. I'm being honest, they looked like the better team. I just don't really know what happened to them. That game 5, someday just popped, like someday pretty much carried 100 Thieves. Like, let's be honest here, guys. Like, someday on Fiora, someday on Orin, someday on pretty much most of the champions did very well for 100 Thieves. You have Closer making all these really great engaged plays, hitting right targets with Poppy when he played champions like Trundle. Abadaga played pretty well up against Jojo Pion, which is supposed to be expected. I think one of the weakest points about 100 Thieves in this series specifically was Huhi and FBI. Now, I'm not going to talk about are they going to be not on the team, because I think everyone right now is just so focused on who's not going to be on teams, but it's not going to matter right now for EG, 100 Thieves, and Cloud9, because they're going to go to Worlds. They'll have a chance to better evaluate that after they see the Worlds performance. But seeing 100 Thieves come out clutch against Evil Geniuses was nice, but were they really the better team? I don't really think so. I got a chance to watch the games more. I was like, no, EG were probably the better team. I just don't know why they fell apart in game 5. I just don't know, honestly. Xander, what's up, man? I can see C9. I can see C9 can shock the world again, but this time, if the meta is still the same as the finals, they can reach the world finals, or the lowest must be semis.
Whoa! It's not going to be the same, and Kai'Sa's going to come back in, so they have to face Viper Kai'Sa. And then, in Group D, 100 Thieves has to face, Gala Kai'Sa, so
I'll bring up the game that I have right now. So basically, the series went like
100 Thieves winning was probably gonna happen, but EG looked better. But
I'll say this:
Thieves.
We predicted for 100 Thieves to win. We did. I'm not sad that I got my prediction right. What I'm saying is I would kind of
going into the day though. I don't know. I had a feeling EG was better though. Than they kind of were.
My thing with the series also, even with the narratives, as in the Cloud9 series, but for the EG series specifically, you look at some of these games, game 1 was pretty convincing. Yes, and people say, well, it was only just because Kaori was on Lucian. Kaori just made his LCS debut this series. Okay, people? This series. That is really concerning. Okay? Kaori literally played his first LCS game in front of this giant crowd, in front of everybody, playing like that. Yes, it was just on Lucian, but you have to look at it one of two ways. Can he play like that on other champions? Well, the ones that in this meta probably maybe not, because we saw that. We saw games of Sivir, we saw games of Zeri, so maybe not utility hypercarry champions. Maybe he'll be better at other few ADCs, I did like how 100 Thieves brought out Xin Zhao. I did like that. I think 100 Thieves were just the more clutch team. I don't think they were the more better team. Because if you went back and watch this
100
series...
100 Thieves is a lot more slow, and that's why they got dick stomped in finals. If EG made finals, it would have at least been 3-1.
I think potentially EG could definitely took a game off Cloud9, because when you're looking at stylistically how these teams match up into each other, EG definitely want to play through their bot lane. They definitely played through their bot lane in this series. I mean, FBI and Huhi got mega gapped in this series. Remember, guys, FBI and Huhi are supposed to be one of the best bot lanes in the league. Now, they did kind of turn it on at various points this year. That's also true. But in certain playoff series, like the ones against Cloud9, they got completely destroyed. That was really concerning. How do you... I mean, they beat bot lanes that are worse than them, but when they face the bot lane that it's supposed to be you got to compete with this guy to be the best, they just kind of just don't do anything. And then FBI will just get relegated to Senna duty, FBI can play the meta. He's always been able to do it. He'll play Sivir, he'll play Senna, Seraphine, Zeri.
I have not been impressed with FBI this split.
Yeah, that's my thing though. He's had moments where I've been okay, he's still a top 4 material, but there's games where you just don't believe in him anymore.
I'm not saying he's better than FBI. I think they're about the I think they're kind of the same peak, but and FBI's like, better overall. But I do think like Han Sama, if he stayed in NA, he would and went to 100 Thieves. Like, I'm not saying he's the better player, but I think with the rest of the roster, with what 100 Thieves needs, Han Sama would work better than FBI.
Because FBI and Huhi were supposed to be another strength of 100 Thieves. I was kind of looking at 100 Thieves like rogue for North America from like last year into this year. Strong early game. If you don't really have a strong early game, you're kind of just going to struggle mid to late game. But it's shown in this series in a few games that they won. If they have a good early game, or if they actually play for objectives like they normally do, very good. If they play towards their strength, they're a strong team. Now, the problem here is if they don't actually kind of do anything in the early game, which is mostly closer and someday kind of pushing them forward in the early game, they just don't really have any strengths, though. Their bot lane will usually just go even. Abadage will just go even. Closer has to make some really insane play with either Jarvan or Xin Zhao or Poppy, some really cool angle to get them back to the game. That's what they're struggling. If they're on form and they're playing their champions, they'll do fine. So they're not like only people saying they're a bad team. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just going to the series, I'm not even saying they lucked out. It's more like they weren't the better team in the series. And you kind of think to yourself, with more prep time with Kaori, this probably just goes EG's favor. I don't really know what is EG's problem in this series or why they really couldn't close out. I think in game 5, if I remember, they put Impact. No, yeah, they put Impact on Gangplank. Like, Impact was the only guy playing Gangplank. I really don't know why they were opting into Impact playing Gangplank. I think the rest of the comp is fine, but if you just analyze the comps from game 5 with them, 100 Thieves comp is just so much better. Like, they get that one team fight like they did at Dragon. They had this one team fight at Dragon because there wasn't a kill for about 19 minutes. They had this one team fight at Dragon. A team fight with 100 Thieves comp against that one is a complete GG. Azir outranges Ahri. Trundle will just pillar Poppy before she runs in. You have Zeri and Soraka. Soraka's going to heal up the team. Zeri will just keep considering putting DPS. 100 Thieves comp is just better as the game goes on. In this is part of the early game where you need it to actually go on. And then specifically, you also have Someday getting ahead of Impact. Now, if Gangplank isn't going even, Gangplank's also going to be used against Gwen because Gwen will just one-shot you essentially. Snip, sip, dead. This is how it works, people. Xander says, Doinby led his video. He is talking about the new meta that revolves around top mid and jungler. For me, the C9 strength is in the bot lane. If Doinby is right, so West is fucked up. We know how strong the East is. I think C9 will be the only NA hope, not just the last hope for how many years. C9 is the only Western team that can make out of the group, even they stuck in the group of death. Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that a bit later on. C9's chances in that group, actually. People probably will be surprised by what I'm actually going to say about that group. But
anybody who actually watches League of Legends will not be surprised.
Yeah. The thing here with the last of this series is, 100 Thieves managed to pull it out, but this was a pretty, I won't say that sloppy series to a certain extent. It was pretty decently exciting to see them going back and forth. I remember, guys, there was a lot of storylines with this match too. Remember, this was the rematch of the LCS 2022 Spring Split Finals, a match where last time these guys faced each other in a playoff scenario, EG won 3-0. They completely just ran them down the last time they were in a high pressure situation like this. And I like how you have different teams like this facing off against each other, and you have these new rivalries building. I like that stuff. I really enjoy that. It's nice to see that stuff. C9, 100 Thieves, EG C9. You have all these new rivalries in the LCS, which is really exciting. And with this one specifically, I wish the casters had kind of just nailed that in. This is a rematch of a previous finals as a third place match going to play-ins. And I just think that looking at how 100 Thieves finished this series versus how they put against Cloud9, it's, they're a team with really high highs and just really low lows. That's just kind of how I look at it. I think EG are a serviceable, decent team, actually. But my issue with the 100 Thieves and EG are going to be when they're facing off against better caliber competition, how's that really going to work for them? And then in the finals, compared to this series and also the Cloud9 series, we saw like Soraka getting played. Is Soraka really going to get played at Worlds? Like, I really don't know. I mean, EG definitely won game 3 pretty convincingly. So this series, I think, was a lot more closer than people thought. But I definitely think when I was watching this series, I just think EG were just the better team all the way around. Then you had the finals, which was Cloud9 versus the 100 Thieves. And, Mr. Nadeshot, I think he said he blocked Cloud9's fucking Twitter accounts. He's definitely going to be unblocking them soon because of how he just lost.
He did years ago.
Any more than that?
What?
Hello?
What? I said he did that years ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
a meme.
I remember like he was talking about, I'm not boys with them, and I just blocked them. It's like, that's just fucking cringe. But he's definitely
Nadeshot being cringe. Wow. No, in other news, grass is green.
No, water is definitely not green.
It's like, oh, you fucking.
So you had the finals of Cloud9 versus the 100 Thieves. What's so crazy about this best of 5 is you had literal former C9 head coaches on 100 Thieves. Reaper on 100 Thieves. Mithy on 100 Thieves. Sven beating Mithy in his own role. That's fucking all those great storylines they could have hammered in on the broadcast, actually. I just don't know why they didn't. This was one of the best finals for storylines to, just bill over into next year. You had a guy role swap to, support and beating the rival org who has a head coach who that guy used to play with and win titles for. That's just how I see it. A lot of great storylines here, but Cloud9 completely ran them down. I really like the composition of the Kennen Nocturne. Because remember, Fudge was a player that we talked about where, he's going to pull out the Camille. He's going to pull out the Kennen. He's going to pull out the Gnar. And that's going to give them an edge over 100 Thieves. It definitely will. But someday also can play these other champions too. Now, I don't know why he played Malphite. I really don't understand why Malphite was really a pick for them.
Malphite got buffed. He just was shit with it.
Oh my goodness. Especially if they picked him against a ranged champion like Kennen. I was like, oh my God,
it makes no sense to pick it here, but no, you see, this outside of like the Kennen and Nocturne pick, which were pretty smart, the rest of the draft, honestly, in comparison to 100 Thieves, wasn't great. And this was the same case with like draft 2, honestly, and kind of draft 3. Like 100 Thieves actually kind of outdrafted them when you actually like look what their counters are. Playing against like Poppy and all this shit against stuff like Nocturne and Kennen is really not that great outside of like, making shit go dark and then you can't see where it's at when he flanks. But outside of that part is honestly kind of better. Like, Max Waldo honestly still hasn't drafted that well. It's just a player gap.
It depends on how you're looking at it. Both Kennen and Malphite flanking is going to do the same amount of damage anyway. Malphite hits the whole team. Kennen hits the whole team. It's pretty much the same thing. Nocturne isolating.
If the 100 Thieves wasn't playing like how they were, if they were playing as good as Cloud9 right now, they would probably win with this comp.
They win potentially. Potentially, we're saying that because their early game in this game specifically wasn't even that great. They got beaten at every single position in the game. Team fighting, objectives, even just when they're actually laning.
Because their shit is just a player gap. It doesn't matter what they draft.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter if the draft is better because if your players aren't playing good, it's going to be negligent anyway.
Yeah, so no, Max Waldo didn't draft well. It's just the players.
He drafted well for what his players needed. You can say that.
Yes, and he has improved now. Finally,
why do you hate white people so much?
He has improved now, finally, to being all right. And yeah, he knows what the players need, but he still isn't a great coach. And I mean, it still doesn't disprove how garbage he was in the regular season. You see, that's what fucking idiot fans on Twitter do all the time, and it's still fucking dumb. It's like, no, the coach was actually just bad at drafting. He just improved a bit now. That doesn't change it from before.
Yeah, Ryan, I thought in game 3, when I was doing my highlights reaction, a lot of you guys saw that, I honestly thought they were going to pull out Lee Sin. In game 3, to bring it back, you got to pull out Lee Sin. You got to pull out something. They gave someday Fiora a champion he had been really, really proficient on between these games, actually.
I don't know about that. He keeps playing the Fiora, but it's like I don't really see him like
Fudge counters with Jax. Fudge actually pulling out just all these champions. And remember, LS, he talks to LS. LS is very big on not just playing the meta, but playing counters for the meta. And I just wish other teams would do this, though. Like we've been talking about this for weeks. Fudge will pull out other champions against you. He's not just going to pick the meta. He'll play Camille, Jax, Kennen, Gnar. Who's playing those champions outside of Fudge and Someday? Who in the playoffs really played anything different? I'm not talking about Gangplank, who's been fucking meta for like, I don't know how many splits, how many fucking games we've seen Gangplank in. Like, outside of pretty much Fudge, Someday, and like Impact, most top laners were just content with just playing like basic shit. You know? That's my thing. Also, I don't know how teams still play. I like Jensen, guys. I love Jensen. I think he's like the best LCS player of all time. How the fuck this guy's still winning with Zillion? That they better not pick that at Worlds. Fun fact: there's only been one time Zillion has won for NA at Worlds. That was against Vitality when they had to get out of their group in 2018. That was the only time.
I love how people are like, "Oh, Bjergsen Zillion." Jensen has played Zillion for just as long with the same, if not more, success. Go fuck yourself. Again, also, just as Bjergsen Jensen comparison.
Also, Jensen won a game at Worlds with his Zillion to get out of the group.
Yeah, Jensen has played just as much with the same amount, if not more, success than quality of gameplay. It's like, fuck off. It's just the biases again with Bjergsen, but I mean, yeah, he was actually just like support Zillion this game. This is just hilarious.
So like, I know on certain the Hunter Thieves fans, like talking to like some of them on Twitter, I think a lot of them were under the sentiment like we could have did a whole lot better. And I could say that. Like, there were moments in the series you're like, okay, they're not this bad. Because like the way they were playing, I was like, okay, they're not like trash. Like, people gotta stop using that. They're not garbage. They're just definitely either one, outclassed, outdrafted, or they're just not confident in their gameplay. Like after they got shit stomped game one. Like after they got shit stomped game one. Like, what's their mental state gonna be? They're gonna be like, "Oh, we're not actually that good." No,
again, they're a great team, but this was expected. As I said, before, if NA teams don't beat 100 Thieves and Team Liquid in both splits coming into the year, then there's an issue. Because I mean, yeah, they're great. They probably should make Worlds, but and then Team Liquid didn't because fucking that happened. But they should not win the split, so I'm sorry. They capped out. It's just player gap at this point. The only way they were going to win is if teams like Cloud9 and EG did not grow enough in that period of time. Like, they're just too slow, right? They besides the Jax pick kind of, but even then, I mean, compared to the rest of 100 Thieves' comp, it isn't great. Like, they outdrafted Cloud9 in almost every area in this game. And they still got their asses kicked because it doesn't matter. But like they picked Zillion against fucking Silas. That should not win. And Jarvan.
Well, also another thing that I had an issue with in this series is this reliance.
What the fuck was that?
I mean, the game's over. What do you want to really do?
What was he expecting to happen? Dude, what the fuck?
He's going all in, man. He's going balls to the wall.
Yeah, saving a smite for next year. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my thing with the 100 Thieves. I don't know how well they'll perform at Worlds. I don't know.
I don't have any faith in them. They played like, I'm sorry, they're playing like shit and just super slow. Genji's, unless they just like Rogue in that period of time versus before they face G2, unless they improve in that period of time and know how they want to play, they're going to get shit stomped by Genji, and they're going to get shit stomped by RNG with Gala fucking playing Kaisa, since that's coming back in the meta. But also to answer someone's comment earlier, I would have faith in Cloud9 actually kind of making it far this Worlds and definitely making it out of group if the meta stayed, but it's not. It's switching to more stuff, and I think it's going to be, I still, we'll get into later about what we think of EDG and T1, but I mean, they definitely have a decent chance, but the meta is shifting more towards EDG and T1's favors as long as they adapt well and their ADCs play well and I think they're moving out of like the Enchanter support meta. So how do you think Sven's going to play outside of that?
If it's not an Enchanter meta, I imagine Sven playing playmakers. That's gonna look horrible.
Yeah,
It looks bad.
exactly.
Like I know people
so.
brought up the fact that Sven kind of played better than Core JJ for this playoffs. That doesn't mean Sven is a better player. You know, some teams just kind of play better with some players. Just play better at certain moments than other players. That doesn't make them better players.
I'm sorry, in a fucking Enchanter support meta, fucking any off support can do well. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying that's the only thing he was good at, with the some games like on Nautilus and stuff. So maybe he is actually just becoming a good support. But I mean, we can't quite tell yet. He's mainly just played Enchanters, which are like the easiest in the game. And then a lot of times when he, gets put on stuff like Thresh, he is inted. So, I mean, not Thresh, obviously, but champions like that.
Like, champions like Yumi, Tom Kench, Zeri, and Renata. Is that the other new support? Yeah, he looks good on those, sure. But how about we see Sven play a meta where you got to be the initiation of your team?
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe being a former ADC, his Thresh will not, stuff like that will not be bad, but I don't know, that's gonna be tougher.
But like that's my last thing I'll say about Sven support. I think people need to understand some players will outperform a player on certain metas. That doesn't make them better players holistically. You gotta look at the whole picture though when this kind of thing happens. Now,
I mean, again, I'm not saying like he can't. Like again, he did have a good Alistar game, and he can play stuff like Senna and Ashe support. So maybe, but we don't quite know it yet. We haven't seen enough to judge.
So this game right here, this is this is kind of like where the series is over. So they tried to invade. So C9 goes and invades them. Actually, I don't know why they would invade this. This is never good. You will never see
who he knocked up all three of them, but they weren't there to chip off damage. And plus, why were they there anyway? Fucking with Poppy and early game Zero. You can't do any damage. Sven on fucking Lulu is like an ADC right now. What the fuck is this bullshit?
So my thing here is you will not be seeing Cloud9 do this against any team. They will not try that against T1. They will not try that against EG.
Yeah, no, these is actually just dog shit. They're losing 1v4 to a Lulu with red buff.
It's not even, also, if you guys watch the replay back closer, some of these guys hit level 2 and they were still not able to kill them at level 1. Then they took the red buff. Okay, already at that point, the game is over. At that point, it's over. Then you had Blabber really popping off from these. Ever since the CLG series, he had been playing like the Blabber that a lot of people expect, coming in, having a massive early game impact.
So I'm cool if I'm like keeping him. I think here's the thing: a lot of people, I guess, forget on it when he was playing very poorly. The split, it was in like a kind of a tank jungler meta, which is not his meta. So I mean,
I don't know.
You could say that
champions have been the same. It's been the same 4 or 5 champions in the meta. I think he's just playing bad.
I mean, either way though, he's improved. Again,
I wouldn't say improve. I think he's just playing at the level you expect him to play.
Well, that's what I mean, but I don't know, whatever, however you phrase it.
It's he's played good ever since the CLG series, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of the Blabber you expect coming to these series. And if you have that kind of Blabber in these series, that's going to go very well for you.
So what you're saying is CLG is going to win Worlds next year.
Okay, if CLG wins Worlds, I'm gonna need the rope. Good God.
So I still can't go with that first. Why would you invade like that, but not have your Talia there who can actually do damage early on? And why would you have Huhi with a good flank knock up all 3, but then not be there? Like that is so stupid. Whatever.
Yeah, I also don't. I mean, I would trust Cloud9 picking Zillion against world-class teams over a team like TSM. I'll say that. But the Zillion pick, guys, is not good. It's not. Okay? If they pick Zillion in a game, oh my goodness, holy shit, that's gonna go so bad for them. Oh my goodness. But nevertheless, Cloud9 ended up stomping through 100 Thieves. They are the LCS 2022 Summer Split champions. Fun fact, Cloud9 has not won a Summer Split ever since summer of 2014. This is their first Summer Split championship win in literal years.
And when did they enter the league?
2013 summer.
Yeah.
Crazy. And they also haven't even competed in a summer championship final since 2019. A lot of great storylines here for Cloud9, and I'm so happy for them getting their 5th title, even though Freak said it was 4. And I was like, ugh.
Yes, I was yelling at the fucking screen, you idiot. Freak,
Yeah,
God.
I was like, can you count, Freak? Freak,
God.
count, please.
No.
Oh, shit.
Too busy
God
getting
damn.
mad at Tyler 1 again. Okay. So this is just
also,
sake.
100 Thieves' strengths were also bad in this series too. Like their team fighting, which has kind of been their strength, not their strength. It's just all bad for them. I hope this is what I told Chaz too. They need the playing stage, probably a bit more than Evil Geniuses do. Like, pure fact. Okay, here I'll explain this because I'm gonna bring up a graph.
I want to see Sven stealing Berserker's Penta.
Oh my goodness! All right, I'm gonna bring something up for you guys, and I'm gonna explain it all in detail. So that is our talk about the LCS 2022 Summer Split Finals. Congratulations, Cloud9! Woo-hoo! Doing it big out here, boys. All right, let me explain something to you guys. Okay, we're gonna have a giant Worlds discussion right now because we have the 2022 Worlds Group Draw Show, which is going to lead into what I'm going to talk about right now. Okay, so let me bring up Microsoft Paint. Okay, we need our Microsoft Paint. Paint app. We're gonna open it up for you guys. So I'm gonna explain this to you guys so you guys can understand this if you're new, okay? Because if I don't explain this, then people are gonna go, "What the fuck?" It's gonna be crazy. Okay, so let me make this bigger, just like my wife wants it. My wife really wants it big, as you guys know. All right, let's go to Microsoft Paint and let me explain this to you guys, okay? So let me get a brush. Okay, so how do you write this stuff down? There's a play-in stage. All right, so we have the play-in stage. Okay. Hey, guys, here we go. The play-in stage, right? Okay, we have play-ins, right? Cool. Now, this is just for people, or I was going to tell my friend, if you watch this video, I know it's probably I think Chaz is still watching on the replay or whatever. Okay, so the reason why I think that 100 Thieves needs the play-in stage, even more than Evil Geniuses, is because you gotta factor in, when you play at Worlds, when you play in the play-in stage, remember, that's the first game you're going to be on stage in almost like a month. That's like what, a 2-week, 3-week gap actually. So getting on stage, getting that experience with different teams, it doesn't matter for wildcard teams. All you have to do is utilize these wildcard teams for your strengths and weaknesses. Draft a certain way, and you sit here and go, okay, this will work, right? This kind of works, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. This might work in this situation, but this might not work as well, okay? Look at it this way. When you get a chance to play up against a wildcard team, doesn't really matter how good they are, the better team with the better players getting that experience on stage is what really matters though. So when you face off against really strong teams from the LPL and the LCK, you're not just going on stage and trying that shit out for the first time, you know? I think it's also really good for the playing stage for certain teams so you can ramp up with the event. Yes, it does kind of mean your team might burn out, but remember, would you rather burn out almost getting to semifinals, or would you rather just get blown out in group stage and look like a piece of shit, you know? So I think either EG or 100 Thieves getting to be in the playing stage is fine, actually. I think it's fine, honestly. You know? I think it's anyone who's watching the chat right now, would someone really truly disagree and thinking that 100 Thieves needs a playing stage? I'm talking about teams that need it because they need to see if their strengths are actually something that they can play off of. Because remember, even though wildcard teams are worse than like LCS teams and LEC teams, let's be honest, they're worse. I mean, MSI 2022 proved that, right? Okay. Now, wouldn't it be good to try out your strategies against those teams just to see if it works? You know, just to see if it works. Now, they're going to win. I think EG are going to beat all the wildcard teams anyway that they're going to face against. The only real competition is Fnatic. But teams like 100 Thieves and EG need that because remember, these aren't strong teams, and getting that extra boost on stage, being the play on stage in front of a crowd, is going to be such a benefit for them, okay? Now, you have all those benefits I just listed right there from the playing stage, okay? Or...
And playing stage is free because our opponents are Fnatic and Beyond Gaming. So I'm sure that they're going to get at least second, and then they're going to get the weakest play-in teams, you know, in the best of 5 if they don't get first and make it out right away. So they should be safe.
Character Gaming. Huh, that's how you doing, man. How you doing, sir? You have a polymerization thumbnail. I like that. 100 would suffer from low champion pool playing more in play-ins. EG needs time to ramp. It could go either way. Honestly, having a low champion pool against wildcard teams isn't going to matter because they're not good anyway. It's not like they're going to be able to exploit that aspect. But I get what you're saying, though. So to drive my point home, anyone, any team that gets the playing stage, I think is fine. Like, it's not the worst thing ever. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing how your split ends. You get third place and you go to the playing stage. All of our playing stage teams that we've ever sent have gotten out, as first seeds of the group, That's it. All you need to do is just have this practice against different teams that do different things where you can obviously challenge them on it. They're not going to beat you. We know that. But you getting that practice, getting the time to scrim against these teams is really valuable, And if they push you to the brink, like some wildcard teams have in the past in the playing stage, that's also beneficial for you because you can get more time on stage and hopefully improve as a team, I think either 100 Thieves or Evil Geniuses getting that is super valuable for them. EG will get it, and I'm kind of skeptical 100 Thieves not getting it is going to be probably a big problem for them. But that's just me personally. All right, so here we'll say this right now. All right, so that's just the playing stage, right? So you get that done, right? So you can ramp up with the event, just like a loop-de-loop, like this. Loop-de-loop-de-loop. Loop. Let's draw a big fat dick right here.
Are you fucking retarded?
Oh, so good God. Okay, so let's reset this.
You are just brain dead. I was like, guys, I figured out the other reason why MSK's brain is like this, guys. Because I get, I said it, and this is what happens every time, all right? I'm like, okay, so listen, MSK, I take Twitter 0% seriously. I literally do it to nothing but shit post other people. But then this guy has dementia or something, so then he'll forget that, and then he'll get triggered at shit I say, and then he'll he'll bring it up on stream and be like, "Oh, you're one of those people who say something dumb and then pretend like they're joking."
Yeah, that's also true, and he knows that. And I call him out on it, and
because I literally say, don't take Twitter seriously. I do it just a shit post.
Okay, guys, sorry. Give me 1 second.
Even when I say things, MSK on Twitter that I mean in my heart, I'm still just using it to shit post and piss off other people. Okay,
but I'm not going to do it that way anymore.
Yeah. Let's see if MSK remembers this time, boys.
Okay, so. Oh my God! I just brought up fucking Microsoft Paint and I closed it again. Oh my fucking
You are
God.
a fucking retard. What is wrong?
All right, so let's talk about
retarded as this fucking tweet right here. Jesus.
So let's talk about Worlds 2022. So this is something I need people to actually literally understand. Okay, this is something I'm gonna bring up to you guys. Okay, probably not have it this big. This is okay. Also, I'm gonna need a pen or an oil brush. We'll get an oil brush. Okay, now. I want to explain this to people in literal, visceral detail, okay? Listen to what I'm going to tell you, because my brain will fry if you tell me anything otherwise. My brain is dead. Okay, so Worlds has LPL and LCK teams going, right? Everyone knows that. Water is wet. Okay. Now, here is the bar. We're going to have a bar, okay? This is called a bar we're going to have, okay? So, the bar is LPL, okay? And the LCK. Now, why is the LCK and the LPL our bar? Oh, because they won every single fucking world championship ever since season 3. That's our bar. The regions that have literally won worlds every year, essentially since ever since 2013. LPL and LCK have won all the world titles. Okay, that's our bar. We're gonna put LPL as like number 1, and we're gonna put LCK as number 2. Doesn't really matter the numbers because I'm going to bring up the points anyway. It doesn't really matter, okay? That's your bar. So a team like T1 being all the way up here is different than, let's say, the LEC, okay? So a team that's as bad as Fnatic, okay, right here. All right, so that's what I'm trying to bring up. And we'll call this just JDG. That's not a D. That's not a D. That's a G. Okay, so our bar is right here. Okay, that's our bar. Then our other bar is the LEC right here. Okay, cool. Then what's our other bars? You probably ask. LCS, right? Yes, LCS is our other bar. Okay, so LCS is like down there. Oh my goodness, the thickness of this page is crazy. Occupancy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let me get the view up. Okay, the view needs to be like right about there. Okay, there's our bar. Okay, there we go. This is all gonna work out just fine.
Is this preschool?
Yes, it's all gonna work out just fine, guys.
I can't even read shit. Why can't you just like use the text?
Maybe I use text. I wanted to use paint. Okay, guys. Everyone,
you are fucked. Welcome
Sean
to the
is bullying
stream.
me, and he also called me the N-word in our DMs too. I can prove it.
No, I would never call you the M-word. I would just call you a cracker. That's what
Okay,
you are.
let's just pull out the notepad. Let me get the Microsoft Notepad. Okay, now I'm gonna explain to you guys how this works. But at least you guys kind of can see my thought process of it, right? Okay.
Well, I can't. Nobody can consume
no one can see
thought
it.
Process.
I don't think no one can consume my thought process. That's actually true. Okay, so let me see how big this font is. Is this font big? Okay, I need to make this font bigger. Okay, I'm gonna make it. That's fine. Okay, this is our bar, right? Our bar is the LPL and LCK. That's our bar, right? The regions that have won literally everything since season 3. Since season 3, world champs. Okay, world champs. Cool. This is not debatable. These are facts. So if you say anything otherwise, you're retarded.
We're not gonna count, Taipei assassins.
I hate you so much. Okay, so LPL, LCK, number 1, number 2. There's gonna be some LCK fan, but whatever. It doesn't matter. They're 1 and 2. They're interchangeable. It doesn't matter. Okay, LEC, and you have the LCS. Okay, we'll put LEC as 3rd. We'll put LCS as 4th. Okay, then there's another bar after that. 4. So after that, you have another bar. Okay, the other bar would be like PCS, right? PCS, VCS, right? And then after that, it's just kind of like fuck all wildcard teams, right? You put like TCL, LLA, right? So that's kind of where the other bar.
It might just be the teams they're sending, but the ones that they are with PCS as of late, just like TCL, have been either washed or they have been like weaker and just went on underdog runs to make it. So I would actually put VCS above them right now, but that's just
so me. We'll put CBL. We'll put this is TCL, right? TCL.
No, it's right? LOL, not CBOL.
I thought it's CB Law, right? Oh, my bad. Okay, so you have CB Law. Okay, guys, we need to factor in all these bars. Okay, so wildcard teams are usually never power ranked to do shit. Why? Because they're just bad. They're just actually egregiously bad. So
yeah,
you don't
that or because they don't show up to the event because they're invading a country.
You're going to hell. So wildcard teams are never power ranked to do anything because they're just not that good. But against another little minor major region like the PCS or the VCS, they could play spoiler, right? That sounds.
I mean, they can play spoiler against the lowest seeds like Mad Lions.
Yeah,
they could.
So then after you get out of this bar right here, when it comes to like worlds competition, outside of that, you get into this right here. And the reason why I have to split this up now to tell you guys is because an actual team from the LPL and the LCK, when they're bad against each other, that is not the same as being bad against, let's say, like an EU team. So a team like Fnatic, right?
Can you spell?
A team like Cloud9.
Holy fuck, this is embarrassing.
Stop speaking. Oh my goodness. JDG. I'm going to put T1 right here. Okay. Let's start from the top and work our way down, okay?
It's truck 1.
Okay. T1, actually. T1 are considerably not good against Gen G, right? But T1 were also insanely strong most of this year. That's comparable to the competition in the LCK, which is a lot more different, okay? Now, factor in what I just said and apply that to the LPL. So let's say that there's a bad team that people are talking about right now, which is I think it was like RNG, or you have fucking like EDG, right? An LPL and an LCK team being bad is different in their own region and comparable to each other than being bad, let's say, for an LEC or an LCS standard team, you know? Fnatic being bad against their competition is not the same as them being bad against something like, I don't know, T1 and Gen G having a big discrepancy with each other, you know? So when people brought up the fact that T1 are not only a weaker team, there's a chance they might not make it out of the group. That's probably not going to happen. And also looking at how Worlds has played out, Korean teams always get first in their group. Faker has never gotten second place in any group stage he's ever played against.
It's bad when Home of Life, that year almost got first.
Factor in, guys. Faker has never taken second place ever in a group stage. Ever. He's never gotten second. They've always got us first, either with the best record or they went perfect. Faker has one of the few teams in League of Legends history to go perfect stage in the group. Okay? So when people say that T1 or EDG possibly can't make it out of the group, you got to look at it from this aspect. Yeah, I do want Cloud9 to get out, and I do predict them to get out. Actually, I'll probably have another second seed.
I'm saying looking at it this way, like, oh, they're worse than this other Korean or Chinese team is a bad way to look at things. But I mean, just look at it in, what holes do they have in their game, like FPX did last year. That's how you look at it. Like if T1 doesn't adapt to the meta still by Worlds, and Gumayushi and Carry
honestly,
and Gumayushi and Carry are honestly been struggling. That like Berserker and Sven, if Sven keeps playing Enchanters and Berserker keeps living up, then they could actually beat Gumayushi and Carry and lane with how they've been playing.
The thing is, though, I think that's good for like one game. That's good for like one game.
Yeah, but these are best of ones, and not these wouldn't happen at T1 and EDG. I think we would win in best of fives. Yeah, but in best of ones, I think it's possible, and I definitely think there's a lot of weaknesses with T1, and also a lot of weaknesses with EDG and their slow game style right now. I think they're actually.
I'm not saying these teams are perfect. The problem here is, can Cloud9 actually exploit those weaknesses? Because it doesn't matter if this team has weaknesses. It doesn't matter. Is this team good enough to exploit those weaknesses? That's the real case. Because remember, going to the match, T9's the underdog, actually. Not them. Not them at all. Most Korean teams play fine in best of ones, too. You have to be good enough to exploit these weaknesses. And when people compare like a Fnatic being as bad as someone like, I don't know, an RNG, that's ridiculous. It's a much different caliber of bad. Their bad is not the same as this bad, or being this bad, or being this bad, actually.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I will say I do think EDG is weaker than RNG and Top Esports.
Well, yeah. I thought Jackie was your friend.
And I would also genuinely take T1 over Damwon Kia, even with their bot lane and all their issues right now, just because,
or even who's the LCS? You said
because of how poorly T1 has adapted to the meta. Like they barely beat them in the best of five.
The problem here is even if T1 are bad at adapting, it won't matter in BO1s. It's not gonna matter. It just won't, because they'll just probably pick standard shit. Win in BO5s, you might get exploited. These are might things though. Like a team can have weaknesses and that be weaknesses, but unless the team is better than them exploiting them, it doesn't matter.
It's just DK, no W.
Damn, I like Damwon Kia though. Okay,
so it was Damwon Gaming. You mean?
So also there was the group. So I'll bring up the actual group stage draw too. So I'll just give you guys a point of how people are not perceiving things in a best way. A team like JDG being considerably, or sorry, not JDG because they won. We'll use RNG. RNG being bad against JDG is way different of bad than like Cloud9 being compared to JDG. That's completely different. It's completely different ways you can look at teams themselves. T1 I guarantee will do just fine against every team in their group. They're gonna get out first.
You can't look at it in like a team being worse than that, but you just look at it with what holes they have. That's all. Like they could pick apart
teams good enough to exploit those holes.
Yeah, they could pick apart Brave on RNG. Like they
the problem kind of. That's only good for like one game. I'm talking like consistently. Can they do that? I don't think so. And it's been
but they could do it enough times where they could do it enough times where they make it out of groups.
Potentially, maybe.
I'm not saying they will, but they can. But also, there's people asked, what would need to happen for a minor region team to ever win Worlds? Okay, well, you would have to just have a team. First off, you would have to have a team like PSG Talon, who made like top 4 that one time and took a game off of RNG. You would have to have a team to at least that level, the same level as like the EU and NA squad, that got like 3rd in placement, It's not better than Korea or China, but yeah. And then it would just have to be the same way. that EU and how EU and NA wins games against them, or how like G2 won MSI. The other Chinese and Korean teams just play worse and they draft better and everything. That's all. That they'll never be able to be better than them, on an actual level. They'll just have to,
right,
hope for that, and at least reach the level of like NA,
so
and then get lucky.
That's just kind of what I want to bring up, guys. It's not even just about our player differences. I don't think we have the caliber of players to exploit any of those weaknesses. That's gonna probably maybe happen in one game. And all to be fair, you only need it for one game anyway to get out of the group potentially. But
yeah, I'm gonna say if Detonation focused me,
no, then they should fuck me.
Well, no, if they were in Group B over Wildcats, or TCL actually sent a good team right now, then I think Mad Lions would might lose and just get eliminated from Group B there.
All right. I'm gonna be honest with you guys here. I haven't watched most of the minor region games. I was watching.
I've seen all of them. If you want to know,
I've watched a little bit of Australia because I have a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, they won 27-1 in playoffs and regular season. And again, so you think, okay, maybe they have a chance because they had surprising results recently. I would say that, but I mean, you just look at the names on their roster, just hover over them, and then you realize, yeah, it's probably we've already seen Tapoon in NA, he sucked ass. Towley in NA, he sucked ass. Rays in NAC sucked ass. Arthur's on a Homo Life, but yeah, and then you realize, yeah, it's probably just the Oceanic talent really drying up at this point. That just name value gets you through that hard. So I don't see it this time around, but
we've seen like wildcard teams have really impressive records in their regions, but then get completely shit stomped against better teams. So guys, the way it usually works is like big fish, small pond, right? These guys are really good in a small pool of teams, but against teams with better players, like we mentioned before, it's just not going to work out. Like literally, Order, who faced EG, had a really great impressive record before they went into MSI 2022.
Well, and Bombers.
And EG took his fist and shoved it in their ass. Like his whole fist, actually. Now it's just EG. That wasn't even the best. I mean, EG was like the best NA team at that time. But you factor in Beyond Gaming. I mean, no, it's not Beyond Gaming. Fuck my ass. Fnatic and EG, I think, are getting out of the group. I think that's something we can all praise.
Okay, so no, see, anyway, so I don't see it happening this time with the Oceanic squad. A funny thing though is you look at there's like two teams in Oceanic that are actually just like all Russians. One team is all Russians with Oceanic, like green cards or whatever you call it, and then another one is the same deal but with full Chinese players. It's hilarious.
So I think EG, I think EG might get out first or over Fnatic.
I mean, yes, if Kaori keeps playing the way he does, yeah, I think they'll get out first, honestly. So Beyond Gaming, a lot of people, once again, just like the Flying Oysters, one of the worst teams coming into playoffs, made it through out of an underdog run. Are they actually good? Not really, but I will say, people are under. It's just they don't have any recognizable like names on Beyond Gaming's roster right now in comparison to other years, like when they had Doggo. So they kind of like underrate players like the ADC they have right now, who aren't bad, but still not enough, I think, to at all to beat Fnatic or Evil Geniuses. And then if they don't get top two, then that means that they would have to face like DRX to get in the main stage, because our Mortal Never Give Up will probably get first in Group B, and then DRX or Mad Lions. So
yeah, also with this playing stage this year, guys, one of these major region teams is not making it out.
I would not be surprised actually if like DRX just gets outlapped. Honestly.
Right, yeah. So for Group A, I mean, I do kind of want to see how Detonation Focus Me plays, because they've played Spoiler last year that they did.
Fnatic and EG are that shit. It could happen again, but
I mean, realistically, I don't see it. I think EG, like E fans be a little mad. I think EG are better than Fnatic right now. I think Fnatic is not that good, honestly.
yeah.
I really don't think so. I think it's EG first, Fnatic second, and insert whoever you want to in Group A. But I think EG and Fnatic do make it out. I think Fnatic's bar is a bit higher than the rest of the wildcard teams, though. Now, Group B is the really interesting one because you have Mad Lions, RNG, and DRX. Now, if you guys have actually watched the LCK, DRX was not good. I promise you, DRX was bad. It was literally Depth carrying the shit out of them. Like, I'm talking like actually put his backpack on.
It was KT and Liv Sandbox just throwing.
I think Liv Sandbox and KT were like, I don't want to go to Worlds this year. I want to be homeless.
Yeah, I can't believe Kanan is fucking out.
You know what?
Whatever. I
told people this. I'm gonna still stick by my prediction. I think Mad Lions, this weird, strong early game, might actually be a problem for DRX. I was gonna predict RNG first, Mad Lions second, and I think DRX doesn't get out of the groups.
Yeah, no. Well, this is what I hope. I out of all, again, that's the thing. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Mad's not gonna make it out. EG's not gonna make it out." I'm just like, have you guys seen DRX? They actually do not look good. Out of all the teams, they could actually. They probably have the best chance right now. Not
like
they
have
out,
some player names on there. I think it's based on player names. People like
it's like Barrow's not been good. People Barrow's not been that good.
Barrow's literally like a Lulu one trick. What? Zeka's been nothing. PO Sick and Kingin are essentially as bad as someone like what's a top lane who I compare them with? Kingin and PO Sick are like Otawamne and fucking what's his name? Otawamne and Rogue's jungler. Oh my goodness, Malrank. Yeah, they're just a bad version of them. They're about the same. Like DRX is not a good team.
Okay, so this is what I hope though. I want Mad Lions to make it out as first, so they don't have to go to any best of fives. They just make it out, and then they make it out of the group main stage, and then in the quarterfinals in the top 8 they lose. So then they make Worlds in top 8, but without winning a single best of 5 all year in their own major region, and this it'll be perfect.
Yeah, and I know people were like a little mad at Mad Lions because they didn't win a single BO5 to get in.
No, but again, it's because they made the format, but before the stuff with Russia happened, where they then got awarded the extra seed, because otherwise it would have turned out well, because then Fnatic and Mad would have competed for it, and Mad wouldn't have made Worlds, without winning a single one. But still, what they still shouldn't have fucking. You realize you can change shit, right? If that happens and then your format's fucking stupid, just change it. You can make an easy solution. Just have it where Misfits and fucking Mad fight for the last world spot in a best of 5. Easy fix, right?
Or you could not take that week off break that they do, play playoffs, then take that week you were gonna have off and play a gauntlet. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Mad Lions makes it anyway.
Yeah.
Or like at that point, if you want to play a gauntlet for the last 4th spot, and you pick between the teams who made it to the playoffs, XL, Misfits, and Mad. I think Mad Lions make out of that.
Well, it would be like XL, Vitality in the first round, then Misfits in the second, and then Mad in the third. But at least
that's it.
But
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, but if you don't have the time for that, instead they literally got placed into Worlds because they had a higher seed going into playoffs over Misfits. But why not instead just they both lost to Fnatic, and so then they face like how they have but in the LCS how they used to have 3rd place best of 5s before the finals for 1st place. Just do that for the world spot with Misfits and Mad. That's all they had to do, and then it wouldn't be a fucking meme like this, and you wouldn't look like a bunch of fucking retards. But I mean, it's a joke anyway that they got that fucking 4th seed. I'm sorry, just give it. I would have taken the Sengoku Gaming in Japan, the 2nd
get
seed.
The fuck off.
No, you can reward them for making it out of groups last year, and Sengoku Gaming they almost made it to MSI and Worlds. They were great. They looked great as well. They actually they actually beat them in the winners bracket. I would have preferred to see that. I would have preferred to see again if TCL hasn't regressed as much. I would have liked to see that. I would fucking Just, I don't know. Jesus Christ, give it to any
Because
other.
the thing here is they wanted to give it to a region that had performed internationally well at some events, and wildcard teams just haven't. See, I can't look at that.
LJ to L then.
No, oh Lord. So that's my thing with how people saw Mad Lions, guys, is I don't think they sent a bad team. It just I think it's bittersweet because the way Mad Lions performed. If Mad Lions looked really good in their games and they still made it without winning a BO5, I think people would have went like, okay, they didn't win a BO5, but at least they looked good. Guys, they got blown the fuck out in a lot of these games. It wasn't even really close. But I do think that Mad Lions' early game is actually a bit stronger than DRX's, and that's why I have Mad Lions getting out second. I think RNG gets first. RNG is very good against teams that are way worse than them. They're definitely good at playing down to their competition's level. We literally saw that at MSI. They took away RNG's record, and then they played again, and they still lost the same way. So RNG is definitely getting first. That's, in my mind, they're getting first. Mad, I think, gets second, and I think DRX bombs out of groups. But who knows? If I'm wrong, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's go to the main group stage event. Now, I don't really want to predict for the fourth seed too much, specifically because it's better to do that when you actually have the groups laid out in front of you.
Yes,
now, the one thing
saying, without any minor region upsets, so it's going to be like probably Fnatic in Group A, EG in Group B, then I believe it was DRX in Group C, and then RNG in Group D. So
I want to explain this to you guys who don't understand this, because Riot's rules are 2 regions cannot be in the same group. So it doesn't really matter the results of the playing stage. So you can't have a group of like DRX in this group.
Yes, but if both Fnatic and Mad make it out, then yeah, Mad doesn't count as that.
So potentially in Group A, you could have Mad or Fnatic getting in, and then the groups kind of felt themselves. That's why also it's bad going to the playing stage, because you could get a really, really hard group like these. So let's save the best ones for last. Let's start with Group D. Because the reason why I want to start with Group D is because people are talking about 100 Thieves just went and lost so they can get an easier group. You're retarded if you think that. You're like really retarded. Because if RNG get out first, the only place RNG can go is right here. That's easy for 100 Thieves, facing the MSI champion and facing the LCK first seed. That's easy for them?
Yeah, no. They're idiots who like didn't
think
about...
drugs?
Those are idiots who didn't actually like think about
what they're gonna say.
No, they didn't think about like what team would end up in, out of play-ins. They were just looking at, Flying Oyster. So they're like, easy. It's like, no, how about you fucking do your fucking research?
I don't get people. They're like, yeah, 100 Thieves lost to Cloud9 so they get an easier chance. That's not easy. If this is easy to you, and if RNG make it out, if RNG can only make it out, they're going here. Let's be honest here. We just saw RNG at MSI fist wildcard teams. They're coming into this group and they're going to be challenging for a seed. You have the MSI champion, then you also have the LCK first seed in this group. 100 Thieves kind of look like shit, look like real shit compared to those teams. Flying Oyster, hopefully the day they can play spoiler. I mean, I'm not down on 100 Thieves. I think given any day, they might take a game off.
I mean, I hope Flying Oyster makes it out. That would be hilarious. But no, that's not. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. The PCS teams, including PSG at MSI this year, have looked not good this year. VCS have honestly looked better. All right, but this is the Flying Oyster roster is basic. That also, again, this and the fucking Beyond Gamer were like this, like the fucking 6th and 7th seeds in fucking playoffs. But I mean. Yeah, they were like players from the Machi roster from Team Liquid's group, if you remember that. Like Gemini and Mission, if you remember them.
The last thing I'll bring up with Group D is people are thinking like Gen G. This is the same Gen G team from, some years back where they would kind of just like get out because they're just better than their competition but not do anything in playoffs. This Gen G is this Gen G is actually really strong. It's actually even harder to beat them now. And Gen G's always gotten first in the group too. The only group they've ever gotten last in was the 2018 group that they went to back when they had Crown. Actually performed very well in group stages. All Korean teams normally do. That's why I always predict Korean teams getting out first, because they always get out first anyway, So I think if RNG slots in, that's cool. But if we're just talking about the teams right here, I don't know about the Flying Oyster team. I think 100 Thieves might be better than them. But is 100 Thieves realistically getting out? Probably not. They'll probably just go 3-3. They'll win a game that doesn't fucking matter. That people will go, they won a game that doesn't matter. It's like, but they didn't win. But they didn't win when it mattered to get out of the group. But they won a meaningless game. Did you not hear what I just said? They won a game that doesn't mean shit. But they couldn't win to get out of the group. Which one would you rather have? Them winning to get out of the group, or them winning a game where they're going to go take a fucking vacation for the next 2 months? Some of you people are retarded. Holy shit.
Yeah, and then there'll also be the other side of the equation where they'll have like one EU team make it, out, which won't be at all because they're playing great or anything. If anything, they're like playing the worst in the group, but it's just because of the other teams fucking up, or just because there's like 7 good Korean and like Chinese teams. So then there's one free spot for them to take, and they'll actually think that's an accomplishment at all. Like, no, you're shit. Bye.
Like, that's the thing, though. It doesn't matter. Like, I know people talked about FlyQuest. They took a game off Top Esports. 100 Thieves took a game off EDG. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. They might as well have just lost that game. They weren't getting out of the group. Why does it matter if you take off a team?
I would have laughed if they took that game off of Top Esports and then lost to Unicorns.
Like, why does it matter if they win games that don't matter, but it doesn't matter if they don't win games that they should? Like, what kind of logic is that? That doesn't make any sense. You should be winning games that matter to get out of the group. That's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be winning like they're winning games without any pressure. It's like it doesn't matter at that point. Your tournament's over for you. Like, what kind of that logic has always been bad. But they still won against them. It doesn't matter. That's the point. It doesn't matter if they beat a team like that when they can't get out of the group. Anyone. It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. So that's it with Group D. Whoever slots in there as the 4th seed, we'll talk about that when we cross that bridge, especially with all the other ones too. We're just going to talk about the 3 teams itself. So that's Group D. Group C is, I mean, people might think that GAM Esports might be a free one. I haven't got a chance to see any of their games though, so I can't say about that. But Top Esports and Rogue. Is there a chance Rogue can beat Top Esports? I don't think so. Maybe. Rogue might be the only team to beat them, maybe.
If players like Jackie Love keep Inton, sure.
If Jackie Love just runs in their team and just dies 10 times in a row, sure. I guess.
Yeah, I think GAM Esports could beat DRX both times, and they could take a game off of some like Rogue or Top
Esports. Just playing spoiler. That's it.
Yeah, well, I think they can win both of those games off for DRX and then take one game off of one of them where it's 3-3 and they force like tiebreakers. But I see them losing there.
Like, my thing here is like, guys, let's be honest here. NA teams and the other minor or VCS and PCS teams, all these guys are underdogs. They're playing spoiler. They're not power ranked to be the top dogs here. Like, I think Top gets out first, but I'll have to see who comes into this group. But that's pretty much it. I think Rogue can beat Top in one game, I think. But I don't think Rogue are getting out first. I think it's possible, honestly. Group B, Damwon, JDG, and G2. It's also another weird, interesting group. Given the team's recent forms, there's a good chance G2 can beat Damwon. There's a good chance. Damwon have not looked that good with their bot lane. Compared to Koreans.
I hope not.
Compared to Koreans. That's the thing. Dekdom and Keelan look bad against LCK bot lanes. Against Flacket and Targamas, that's a toss-up, actually. I mean, now based off their form, Damwon looking pretty scary against the Gauntlet that they just, got the 3rd seed in. G2 not looking so good in the finals. And you gotta understand, it's a different level of competition between what an LCK bot lane looks back compared to like a Western bot lane. I mean, yeah, Dekdom and Keelan are not good, but that's the Korean standards. It's against G2, I would probably have them favored, a little bit slightly favored, kind of, because their bot lanes do the same thing. Flacket and Targamas and Dekdom and Keelan are like the same. They just play even handshake bot lanes. That's it. So the strengths come from Naguri, Canyon, and Showmaker. G2 strengths, top side. I think you favor Damwon in that.
I don't know about Naguri, but
I think you over Broken Blade right now, even though Nuguri's not been that great. Broken Blade's not good himself either right now.
No, I'd actually kind of take Broken Blade over.
What are you talking about? What is wrong with you?
It depends how they use Nuguri.
I'm saying even at their lowest, Broken Blade's still weaker. Like
okay,
Broken was also a big reason why they lost the finals too.
No, listen, we're gonna sub in Birtle. It's gonna be Yone, and then Broken Blade's gonna pick the Yasuo, and they're gonna go at it.
He's gonna pick fucking Poppy. Not Poppy, oh my god. He's gonna pick Gwen. And Nurse gonna pick more.
Listen, Birtle's gonna fucking destroy on the Yone and get them the world championship.
Oh shit. So G2, I mean, I would hope they could get out, but against JDG and Damwon right now, I mean, guys, I understand Damwon's not that good. I understand that, but G2's just played a series and we saw they're not that good either.
I hope they don't, and then get fucked in the ass, because they deserve it. All right, I hope Damwon and JDG, just bang them right in the middle there.
Oof. So JDG, I think
you, Carlos.
Because the thing with JDG is like people are power ranking JDG to also win the tournament though. Now, there's this thing with LPL teams where like people who don't actually watch the LPL enough will like so overrate them that they can't believe they'll play bad. It's like, no. They can still win the tournament, but they can also play bad along the way.
Yeah, let's look at FPX and EDG. They did exactly that.
Yeah,
and actually all of them been like that so far. And it's the same thing here. JDG and Top Esports have as many holes as the Korean teams, if not more, that they could pick apart this year. All right, they can easily pick apart Punish Kanavi's gameplay and 369's.
Also, the very last thing that I'll bring up about like the other LPL narratives is LPL has won nearly every single international tournament for a while. So even if they're playing bad at certain instances in a tournament, let's be honest here, are they not the favorites to win?
Okay, I don't really give a shit about the paper MSI titles. I just look at Worlds. So
I just look at Worlds.
So looking at Worlds,
Which is also kind of what they've been winning for a while too.
So looking at Worlds, I mean, let's just go from 2017. It's Korea, then China, then Korea, then China. So that's only 3 out of 5. It's not like everyone since. And also the latest one, I mean, EDG really just got fucking extremely
If you check out if you go with the last 4 world championships from 2018, LPL.
Well, I'm looking at like I go by 5 years in the past, so
yeah. China's won like the last 3 out of 5, something like that. No, but they've won nearly every single international competition for a while. Like the LCK, even against the LPL, look pretty iffy. Like I don't know how people will feel about JDG because last time JDG were power ranked to also do very well at Worlds, they kind of bombed out too, and that was a while ago. But this is a different team now. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, I mean, Top Esports did as well. It was the Sun.
Yeah, both of them. That's weird. Both of them are back at Worlds to definitely play better because
I don't know what you talk about. They got in their group against who was easily going to win the whole tournament. Anyone who actually had eyes, which was one game, and they got put in the same group as them. So obviously,
but they weren't playing good either. Though it didn't matter.
So obviously, they're going to make it out as second. But they beat them once in that group, so that
they
was
were also
good.
Not good either. Like they didn't play well. They were just completely, just bad. Yeah, they got out. That's cool, but I mean, like it's not like they're a team you think are going to do very well at the tournament itself. Like they're going to be like an actual scary threat. I didn't think they were a scary threat. I thought they actually fumbled pretty hard. I actually thought Kanavi played pretty bad at that Worlds too. Now you have Group A. I won't predict Cloud9 to get out, just not as first. I take T1 first, and Cloud9 second, and then EDG third. But the problem here is who will Cloud9 get in their group? That's the real case here. But this is also a pretty hard group in itself. EDG have holes you can exploit. That's fine. So do T1.
They've been pretty slow, yeah. I mean, I don't think you're going to beat that bot line, but
Viper and Mako are pretty strong.
Yeah, especially on they need the ban like Lucian or something. You cannot let them have that.
Okay, so this is kind of my expectations for the teams that I support at the event. The Western teams like G2 and Cloud9. This is kind of like how I always looked at it though. I love and would love if they get out of the group. I would love that, right? Now, I have this thing in my head where I can understand if they can't get out because, they're just not good enough or they're just not strong enough. That's fine too. That's competition, right, everyone? The only way I would be really mad is if, like, they just completely threw games they should have won, and then that is what really screws them into getting out. That's what makes me
what you mean is Team Liquid every year.
Pretty much, yeah. So, or dropping games that you shouldn't be dropping. Like, if you drop
Yeah,
games
like
you
when
shouldn't.
Team Liquid dropped the game to Machi when they could have made it a tiebreaker.
So that's just how I see it, guys. I can see a world where Cloud9 don't get out. I see a world where G2 don't get out. I see worlds that they do. I see worlds that they don't. My thing here is I'll be pretty mad if they had a shot at getting out of the group and then they just completely fumble it completely, you know? But I'm still going to predict most of the Korean teams to potentially get out as first, or the LPL teams to get out as first. Honestly, I think there is a world where Cloud9 can definitely get second place. There might be a world where they can even get first, honestly. Just depends on how T1 and EEG play. I mean, you still have Scout.
Again,
Viper.
I would need to see the meta, how it is at Worlds, like how much of a shift it is.
But we have to see like how playing stage plays out. Oh, if C9 go 5-1 in the group, holy shit!
I can see it happen. I can see them dropping a game to like T1, or something. But I mean, do you think Fudge is going to pull out the Malphite because he used to play that well at MSI and more or stuff like that before? That used to be like a pocket pick of his, and it came back. Then in it, like it's been buffed.
Like even last year when Cloud9 faced Damwon, was still a pretty sizable difference. Even though Damwon had issues you could kind of exploit. Like that's the thing that people always bring up these issues with the Korean LPL teams. I don't think the Western teams are. It's not that they're even not just good enough to beat them at their weaknesses. It's more like nothing they can do can ever be good enough to exploit these weaknesses. It's always like you got to pull out this pick in the drafting phase to kind of like surprise them, or you have to go for this like crazy insane play to knock them off their game. You know, I'll just say I think Cloud9 get out at second. I think just T1 get first, honestly. But EDG have shown to be pretty volatile in their gameplay. So is T1. I mean, T1 are pretty much just a standard team that's just really good at playing standard shit. You know, they draft pretty standard. So I'm not thinking that T1 are going to be like a bad team. But then again, when you go into playoffs and you're seeing how the teams match up against each other, we'll just see how it goes, actually. So that's our discussion about the group stage so far. It's better to predict how the groups will be going later on when you actually see the whole groups out. But yeah, for the Western teams right now, it's looking pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. I can't believe people actually thought 100 Thieves getting in this group was actually calculated. And if that was calculated, you need to really think your strategies, buddy. Also, yeah, you get a lot of storylines too. It's not just all doom and gloom. Jensen versus Faker, Jensen versus Scout, Berserker facing off against his old organization, you know, Caps versus Showmaker. You also have JDG versus Damwon. A lot of great matches here. T1 and EDG in the same group again. Again. Oh my god. It feels like T1 and EDG always get the same groups, man. Just always feels like it, you know?
And what happened the last time this was a group?
They both got out last year.
What, EDG and T1? What do you mean?
They got out last year together, yeah.
No, I said all three. What happened?
Those all three. Cloud9. Yeah. They got out. I mean, we'll see how it goes. But
this time, you know, you're right. The last group, it was the same deal, but you know, Detonation Focus Me and 100 Thieves. So what's going to happen is, Detonation Focus Me is going to make it out and go in Group A, and then this time they're going to get first in their group. You know?
Oh yeah, that's definitely coming.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. Fuck.
If Detonation Focus Me makes it to top 8, I'll get a tattoo of theirs. How about that?
You have to go watch Oppenheimer talking Japanese.
What does that even mean? There's not even going to be a Japanese dub, you idiot.
What are you talking about?
What the fuck are you? You are so fucking retarded. It's unreal. What the fuck is wrong with you?
No, you went to that teriyaki place in your hometown.
What are you? Okay, you actually have like autism or something. What are you even saying?
All right, so that is our discussion about the Worlds 2022. God, Vin Diesel's just outside or some shit. That's our discussion for Worlds 2022 group draw.
Anyway, Isrus is or I've pronounced the name is completely fucked. They barely made it. Like, did you see that ending to their win with against Estral Esports? Like, Astral Esports with they had like me no, it wasn't me. It was like it was that past like mid laner on Hanwha Life, but yeah, like they fucking they for some reason they were at taking down the turrets, hitting the nexus, but for some reason they took turret damage instead of letting the minions do so. And
That's
then
why
they
they're called wildcard teams.
and then you remember Jelly, you can see him on Isris's roster, literally got a double kill on the Alistar. And then it was 40 minutes in, and then they just killed their nexus. It's that's how they got to this stage. So yeah, I mean I think and they're in this tough group. They're completely fucked. I think it's safe to say. Chiefs Esports Club, yeah, they're probably fucked. Loud, now this is the same deal.
Isn't Loud PCS too?
No.
Is Loud PCS? No, that's Brazil. That's Brazil.
Once again, another Brazilian team that they shouldn't have sent to Worlds. If they just send the good ones and the well-built teams,
how about this?
Would have a chance. Now, 10 owns is fantastic. Fantastic for Brazil. Again, he could have actually unironically played in LCS for 4 years on at least bottom teams. That's how good he is. And Seals is all right. Croc is decent, but the rest, I mean, Brantz is a good up and coming ADC, but yeah, I mean, Croc isn't very good. Seals is a bit washed up, and Robo is a fucking washed up. He just keeps getting carried by 10 owns on these teams. It's basically just 10 owns and their new ADC who's really good that carried them and had an underdog run in playoffs again, just fucking Beyond Gaming. So yeah, those three teams, and Wildcats are completely fucked. I think it's safe to say.
I'll say this. With Brazilian teams, I think these wildcard teams always send what is quote unquote their best team, or a team that kind of lucks out and gets to where they have to be, which is getting, to go to the international competition. What I've noticed about Oceania and Brazil, the way they do really well sometimes in their own region is they'll bring in a Korean player who's not good enough to play in the LCK, but he's so much better than the competition in that region that they just go undefeated and they stomp completely. But then at Worlds and MSIs, they always just kind of bomb out. You'll notice that, guys. Brazil will play Korean imports. They import Korean players, or they'll import Korean players that will never.
They have a lot of Korean imports, and again, whatever. There's many better fucking.
Well, the thing is, though, no, they take Korean import players who aren't good enough to make the LCK, but it'll be better than a lot of the players they'll face up against, which will give you wins. But then again, that never gets them anywhere. And my thing here is they're just never been good, though. Wildcard is just not good. They have good individual players. I've never been down on them for that. But it's just when you watch them play, you can kind of tell why they're bad. They make really egregious mistakes. I'd really talking really bad mistakes here. We're talking I'm not talking LCS standard levels of bad. We're talking mistakes where your players will do something, they'll go to a Rift Herald when it's not even opportunistic for their comp to do it. They just do it because it's just that's just what they think is good in the right moment. They get outlaned consistently. I don't know. Wildcard teams need a lot of working on to get better, but it's just more it's not just infrastructure. It's just they just have weaker players in their regions. Most of the time, but except the VCS, and the PCS have players, but the problem here is they never really show up anytime. Sanguine Buffalo, Shogun and Taki, they played, their bot lane. Yeah, that bot lane of Sanguine Buffalo played very well up against T1's bot lane, but as the tournament progressed, it didn't matter. I think the best thing for wildcard teams is just coming in and playing spoiler. And now I know people are gonna probably want to have a discussion on double elimination for Worlds. Talked about that a lot already in the past. I would love if there was double eliminations for World Championships, but it's probably not gonna happen anytime soon.
I mean,
all right.
For me, this is my opinion on it. I think it's double elimination. Yeah, should be in every regional playoffs for sure for teams and to make it to Worlds, but I actually don't mind not having it at Worlds. Just I think they should expand the play-ins and also have some small prize pools there for the for the minor region teams, and also make it where only minor regions are in play-ins, and expand it, giving it like 2 to each minor region and 3 to some of them like VCS and stuff. And then I would just expand the amount of teams in 4 groups, or make it like 5 groups in the main stage, and then just expand the bracket to like to like 16 teams or something, have the round of 16 quarterfinals and stuff like that. I would just expand worlds, bring in more major region teams, bring in more minor region teams for play-ins. I don't mind not having the double elimination, just because I think it just, in my opinion, in other games it's more suitable, but like in Rocket League and stuff. But in stuff like this, I think it makes it feel more legit. I don't know, like each series. That's just me. It feels like more prestigious, just in my opinion. Just with that's just how I watch it, though. I just feel that prestige with like every series. Each one is that important, and then upsets can happen, because double elimination upsets probably won't happen. Makes it more interesting. They just, I think, need to change up the format as all, and also do something. So I mean, there's also like a lot of people are bitching like with Korean and LPL teams just playing against like each other in the top 8. Like, oh, is this even worlds and stuff? Well, yeah. I mean, listen, those 2 regions are the best. They have like older teams make it to top 8 anyway, so
they're always like first in their groups.
Like yes, it is weird, like T1 could have won worlds last year without facing any other regional team in the top 8, because they faced Life, they faced Damwon Kia, and they almost faced Genji in the finals if they won, because Genji was 1 game away from beating EDG. But again, though, just Korea and China are the best teams, so I mean, that's going to happen the majority of the time anyway. They're eventually just going to face each other anyway. That's what happened all the time in the past. The Korean teams beat all the other teams, and then they just faced each other in like the semis and the finals. So I mean, yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. Like, a lot of people are like, they need to do something where that doesn't happen. They need to make it so like the quarterfinals opponents are all teams from different regions. All right, I can't, but it's like they're eventually going to face each other anyway.
Well, this is my thing about that too. Was like, I don't. People are so
like they're eventually going to face each other from their own region.
Well, even before that, dude. Before that happens, why wouldn't you not want to see the best teams face against each other? I don't care if it's LCK or LPL.
Who cares if they're from the same region?
Yeah, guys.
And plus, that doesn't make it like not interesting. Like, it's like they just think,
there's still storylines.
The seed, and it's like, look at Sunin's bracket side in 2020.
Like even if you have a LCK quarterfinals match, when they go back to their region, that makes that matchup even more hyped, actually.
Yeah, and plus, the seeding doesn't just guarantee the win. It's like teams improve since then. Like JDG,
like EDG last year looked okay in the group stage. They ramped up throughout the tournament, like they did in the LPL.
Yeah, but again, like this year, JDG barely won that finals against Top Esports. Like
they were like the best team in.
They were behind in Game 5, came back, and then Jackie Love inted. So imagine a best of 5 in like semis or finals, the Top Esports versus JDG.
That would look really interesting.
Yes, it's not that JDG will just win all their higher seed. No, they Top Esports can. But again, look at 2020, the Sun in bracket side. Was that not interesting? Who cares if it was just Chinese teams?
Yeah, like I told people before, it's like, it doesn't matter who makes it to the top 8. I just want to see the best teams play against each other. That's all I want to see, But then someone else asked me, it's like, how would you know if the best teams play against each other? Because you watch the games? What the fuck? You just watch the games. You can tell who's the better team. You watch the games. That's it. It's only how that works. You just watch the games and you go, okay, was this the best team there? Because I don't just want an LCS or an LEC team in the bracket stage, in the quarterfinal stage, just to have them, just because they're NA and EU. That's dumb as fuck. That's stupid. I'd rather them not be there, because first of all, if they get in there, they're a free win anyway. Let's be honest here, they're a free win anyway. And that means that LPL and that Chinese team usually just gets a free win and a free pass to the next
Also,
round.
there's this comment disjointed. C9 lost to Destination Focus Me PSG 2 times and Oceanic last time. Okay, well, here's the thing. All right. Cloud9 was already basically out when they lost to Oceanic, and they basically given up. That Oceanic win really doesn't mean shit. Now, the PSG lost both times that time. EG lost to them as well, and they got lower seed than PSG. PSG got third, that MSI. So, I mean, it was just as embarrassing for EU. Sorry, did I say EG? Sorry, for EU. All right, PSG was just a good team. They were better than that. But then C9 lost to Destination Focus Me. I mean, that was more just Cloud9 fucking up than Destination Focus Me playing well.
That lost the game.
Like you seem to forget. Before that, they lost to Unicorns of Love, which is why they forced that tiebreak. If they just beat Unicorns of Love, they wouldn't have been in that situation. Who were 0-5. Or no wins in that group stage. And
also, what I'll bring up to people is you got to stop looking at it from a regional pride aspect. Okay.
Yes.
Why would you want
upsets happen? And at the end of the day, what happened? It's like with EDG and G2 in 2018, they lost to fucking Infinity Esports from Latin America, and that one Supermassive or 1907 or whatever from Turkey. G2 lost to them and fucking EDG. But who cares? What did they do after that? Nothing. And then what did G2 and EDG do after? Let's see. They both made it out of groups.
Or even people who talk about G2 in 2019. It's like, but didn't they lose to Fangwu Buffalo? They also won the tournament, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, guys, when you play a tournament, you're gonna lose some games. No, I think there's been a single team in this planet that's ever gone perfect.
Yeah, it's like, hey, do you guys remember 2017 groups? T1, their one game they lost was against fucking AHQ from LMS.
Teams, yeah, that AHQ bombed out of groups, but SKT, they went to World Finals. So it's one of these things that I tell people is you gotta stop this regional pride people have. It's just stupid, because why would I want an LCS or an LEC team getting into the quarterfinals bracket, knowing they're not good, knowing they're going to lose, and then bitch and moan about them losing and not being good? What sense would that make to you? You know they're not good. You know they looked out to get into that position. You know they're going to get destroyed the next round. So you have this weird, self-fulfilling prophecy? I just don't get it. We know they're not good. We know they're going to lose. So I just want to see the best teams perform the highest level. That's all I want to see. If it's LPL and LCK, that's cool. That's why I have the LCK and the LPL teams that I follow. So when the other two teams that I have don't do as well, there's other teams that I can support. And I've been watching League of Legends since 2015. And, I thought to myself, you know what? Might as well have a team for each region to watch. I watched them all. I watched them very closely. One for North America, one for EU, one for China, and one for Korea, actually. I don't think I have a favorite wildcard team, because I don't really watch
you don't have a favorite wildcard team? I mean,
they always send different ones, and that's not one I've really attached to.
I mean, I've had some, but some of them have left the scene. Bombers was my favorite in Oceanic, but they left. I like Supermassive and stuff like that, and Turkey. I like Unicorns of Love
this year because reasons. But
I mean, I liked Unicorns of Love a lot when they were there and having success. I liked.
Oh God! So that's my thing, guys.
Yeah.
Is
I also like Infinity Esports because part Costa Rican, and they're the one Costa Rican team in the scene. So
my thing with Worlds generally is I can understand why people would want double elimination. I think it'd be pretty cool just to switch it up. Switch it up, try it out, see if it works out. Try it out 1 year and see if it works.
I just think it makes the big matchups feel more hype, prestigious, and exciting, in my opinion. If there's no double elimination involved. That's just me, though.
They could simply just, I said the same thing too. Well, just make more groups. Instead of having playing stages, make more groups.
Instead of double elimination, that's what I would do. Just make more
take
groups.
A playing stage.
Well, I
what you
would
have to
keep
do.
playing. I would keep playing
Right?
stage.
You don't need a
just for
playing
the
stage.
minor
You just have
region
more
teams.
groups and start a week earlier. The week you start the playing stage, just start the main actual group stage. That's what you do.
Well, no, I would do both. I would just expand. I would have the playing stage show and expand it for like the minor region teams, but I would only. But I would have it where there's no teams other than minor region teams there, and then 4 minor region teams make it out, and then you expand the group stages to like 5 groups with like 6 teams each, and then
I
the
wouldn't
6
put
team are the minor region.
I would never put, if I was doing seeding, I would never put LPL and LCK teams in the playing stage. For one reason, guys. Okay. We watched this year's MSI, right? We watched nearly every major region clobber these teams. It wasn't even fair. It wasn't even fun to watch anymore. You just knew they were going to win. It's not holistically fair to a wildcard team to go to an international competition and the first game you play up against is RNG. It's like it's better if you just kind of give a wildcard team to the separate part of the competition, which would back in the day been an international wildcard tournament, you know? For the playing stage, all you have to do is simply just dissolve that. The week you want to start Worlds that week, make 2 additional groups, okay, with other teams. Now, I know people are going to bring up, but what if those other groups have worse teams and it's easier? This is how it works. You're going to have groups that are harder. You're going to have groups that are easier. It's just how tournaments work, you know? But I'd rather not waste time playing a playing stage when I get to be playing the main stage event, actually, you know? That's it. That's what I do. I just make a few more groups and just kind of lessen the teams that go. If you lessen the teams that go, potentially, you take out the playing stage, or or simply just take off the NA, EU, LCK, and LPL teams. Actually, take off those teams, do the playing stage, do the group stage, pretty much just within that day itself. There's ways they could do double LM, but that's my thing. There's ways you can make it work. It's just they're not willing to. Like, how does Riot in their brain conceptually think an LPL first seed or 4th seed is equal to a wildcard team first seed? Yeah, RNG got 4th. The Chiefs got 1st. Yeah, that's how is that comparable? That's not comparable at all. But it's just by numbers. Because it's all a numbers game, actually. All right, everyone. Time to do our last topic today, which is going to be about Team Liquid. So I already made videos about this. I have to make one more because an article just came out about this. So, but as you guys know, I got to have some content for you guys. So we won't be talking about that portion specifically, but we're going to be talking about
I will say one thing now. What about this idea? Again, I already said my opinion before you get on to that. What about you just, we have 6 group stages. Again, still, you can keep plans or not, but just in my vision, I keep plans, and then like 6 minor regions make it out, and they just count as like the 6th seed in each of the groups, and then the other 5 in each group out of the 6 groups are major regions. All right, but yeah, 6 groups, and then 2 make it out in each of the 6 groups, and so that would equal 12 teams, and then there would be wild, like in the play-ins, in outside of like the teams that get first, there would be the wild card placements, and then it would be the what was it? It's the a certain amount of teams, like 1, 2, yes, 8 teams. The 8 teams that don't make it out of the groups with like the highest win records would then be placed in like a best of 3 series with another team, and then if they win that, then they make it through. There would be 4 of those with 8 teams total, so then 4 make it out. So then there would be 2 each out of the 6 groups, and then 4 there. So then it would be 16, and then they would have a top 16 for the bracket, and that's how the group stage would work. Sort of like in like baseball. What do you think about that?
So you're trying basically adapting a traditional format from sports, right?
Yeah.
That could work. The
And
problem here is,
and then just without double elimination, you just expand that, and you can still keep play-ins. You can just have it. You can have it way before that. Have more play-in minor region teams in it, like 2 from each minor region, and have like smaller prize pools for each, and a smaller trophy. Since they probably won't
you're right.
do shit in the since they probably won't do shit in the main stage, and then just the top 6 teams that end
that's
up
also
there.
the thing too that I need to understand is I can give a little bit of leeway to some wildcard teams. They only really have one team kind of representing their entire region, which is kind of unfair.
Yeah.
It's also hard on them even more because unlike the PCS or the VCS, that get 2 or 3 seeds sometimes.
Yeah. Also, it is fun to vote for an underdog, and it's even
It's fun.
But anyway, I'll like draw something up later to like show you a better example on paper, like what I mean, like what I'm thinking, because I mean it's hard to explain in words. But yeah, anyway, but get to your like Team Liquid news.
Let me put the topic in. So anyone who's watching this right now live, I forgot to put it as a topic itself. It should have been. I'm sorry about that. But we'll do that right now when I do this right here. So if you're new here, what I want you guys to do is hit the like button. It helps out greatly with the channel. As you guys know, we are trying to push for 1,000 subscribers, and meet that goal. Actually, I would simply just do that for me because you guys love me so much. Hit the like button.
Okay,
smash that shit.
Never do that. All right, you're supporting a cracker.
You're supporting the best mind in League of Legends history.
You're supporting a cracker who's always wrong and always doubts players, and then gets. It's
not even true. I'm very honest, and then this guy's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna suck them off like this guy does." I can identify when they're playing bad. Actually,
yes, I can identify when they're playing bad, but I say there's things in their games I see that I think they can easily improve on, and then reach these peaks, and then you're like, "Yes, they do all the time."
Do. They get they actually play worse, and then you're like, "No, they didn't play that bad. It just
it happens literally all the time." And it happened with G2 in spring. Yeah, I think me and Warren.
How did that pan out for G2?
Yes, no, because we predicted them to win in spring. We said they would get 2nd or 3rd in summer. All right, you have to use your brain.
I brought up the fact that they have issues, and you guys were like, they'll just win. It's like that's not how that works.
No, we said they had issues, but we said
they will have issues.
Yes, we said there are issues. We literally said like.
I said also there wasn't a reason why they shouldn't win. I'm saying that it's highly unlikely they win because they're bringing in literally 2 new people in the bot lane that have never played LEC. Almost
like we said, like there was a lack of chemistry with the team for most of the season. We were just saying that peak wise, they if they fix the issues, then they should win.
There's no way of knowing that.
Yes, because we showed. Yes, you can see in the gameplay, just like how. Just like how I knew FBI and Closer would become the players they did. All right, no matter the issues, like lane and stuff, some players have like fudge in the early days. You have to look past that and just hope the coach and staff eventually
100% you would not know that
and eventually trains them and then fixes those small issues which usually they do but then sometimes they don't because the coach and staff is fucking dog shit like Dig with Neo. But
to bank on a rookie like Flatkid playing as good as he did is it can happen, but I'm not going to.
I'm not saying he would be playing. I'm just saying he would sustain the lane at least as weak side, but
like how? But there's no sustainable evidence for that at all.
They reached the highest peak, Zum and Rogue that split, and then G2 fixed their issues in playoffs, so then they won. Like and you saw it in their gameplay.
Like I said, G2 were gonna have issues with these new players like Broken Blade, Flatkid, and Targamas. I think they'll soon be top 3. I said that. But they weren't gonna be flawless. They were not gonna be without their problems.
Yeah, we didn't say that. We just said that by the end of it, they should be in a position to possibly win.
This is by the end of it,
and that if they fix their issues, yes, because we were predicting the winner of the split, and they said if they fix the issues or most of them, then they should win with what they showed
in spring, in summer.
Yes, and then in summer, me and Warren said they wouldn't win. We said it would be a team like fucking. Well, we all kind of doubted.
Have won one of the
we all kind of doubted Rogue a bit, but we said a team like Fnatic or something.
I also said there was a chance that they don't want to split this year either because they're essentially kind of bringing in new players to kind of fit the mold of what their usual play style looks like.
Okay.
I mean, I think it all still pans out the same.
I think me and Warren are the only 2 people on the planet that predicted G2 to win in spring, but not win in summer at the start of the year. Because not only were there so many doubters like you fuckheads, but that everybody was
doubters. You mean comparable people were thinking correctly?
Not only that, but then everybody was like, even if they do, it will be in summer because they'll have to sort out the issues in spring.
So I think me and Warren were the only people who actually got
You know
that
the problem
right.
with thinking that is you're going with the most off balance position when you think about that stuff. You're not thinking about holistically what's in front of you, right? What you're saying is a bunch of like hypotheticals. They could do this. They could do that.
Well, no,
They
it's
could do
because
this.
I knew after they reached, fix their issues and reach that potential, though, they weren't going to grow from there. Like
Well, no. What I'm talking about is you're
Target, Moss,
hoping.
Capsule, them had a ceiling, and
What I'm talking
Yankees was
about
going to
is
struggle a
you're
bit.
hoping that happens. There was no evidence to support that coming to spring when they lost Reckless.
No, I wasn't hoping. I was predicting
that's
it
hope.
because I
That's
saw
hope
it.
still.
I
You're
saw.
hoping they do this.
Well,
what are you talking about?
That's every prediction. You don't know exactly what's going to happen with any team. We didn't know Cloud9 was going to be like this, but we knew they had that peak to be. At the end of the day, you have to look at it, and and then each team has issues. You have to try to predict though which one will sort the issues.
Also,
with
we
the
wouldn't have
coaching
known
staff
how
by
well
then.
Flackett was going to play in the LEC. We just could not have predicted for that.
Well,
I mean,
no, I did because everybody.
We know Broken Blade was going to do okay based off his time on Schalke.
No,
we don't
I
know
knew
how
Flackett
Tarkos
would do
played.
very good because the reason why people doubted Flackett is because when it comes to those regional teams with prospects, they literally just look at the team success, not the individual player. And that's why everybody doubted Flackett because they're like, oh, what's this guy on this random Spanish team that never accomplished anything?
Yes, but the
right? And then I looked at the individual and he was perfectly fine.
But playing in that aspect of what he was in before versus playing in the LEC when things are a lot more different with better players, it's like there's a world you could see doesn't work out. That's how I see it sometimes.
Yes, and you have to predict and just watch the game playing and make your prediction. There's nothing that's guaranteed. That's how life works, MSK.
You know how
what
life
are you
works?
trying to say here?
I get my life. I have my dad in my life, unlike you.
No, he's never coming back. All right. Now say you were wrong about JDG. All right, Kanavi and Yagao are the best duo
this
in the
man,
world.
Sean, he always does this. I literally tell it like it is sometimes. Teams are playing bad in moments and time. And he's He's like, no, but they'll get better. It's like, first of all, you don't know that. And second of all, sure, that's possible, I guess.
No,
what?
Yagao and Kanavi were always the best in the world, all right?
All right, Team Liquid. So Team Liquid pretty much failed with their superstar team this year. They put out this video on their League of Legends YouTube channel. No, they didn't. They put it on Twitter, actually.
And even when they were, winning games and having higher records throughout the season, you could see that Team Liquid actually was just an abysmal team in disguise if you actually watched the games, MSK. See, it's not just taking a guess; it's watching the gameplay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I also said Team Liquid was playing bad right now, but could improve. And you know what? They didn't, because you notice at the moment they're playing bad, and you have to wait until they improve to actually say they improve. You can't just say they'll improve without any evidence.
No, because they still got first in the regular season and stuff. So they actually
that was not improvement. That was Cloud9 pretty much fumbling bad toward the very end of it. That was
but still they reached the top, and so it was only going to go down. That wasn't
a convincing top finish. You were on crack. Oh, I hate Canadians.
It's Steve, co-CEO at Team Liquid. I feel bad that it took us a couple days to get an update to all of our fans. To be really,
you probably told the investors. I kicked out a player that helped us almost get out of group stage for a player that went 0-6.
I think he's trying to sweet talk the mafia right now so he doesn't get murdered with how much money he invested.
A little bit of time to collect and organize all of my thoughts. I wanted to make sure to provide a lot of transparency. With that being said, I think going into this season, I was completely enamored by the idea of building a roster that would potentially be the best roster that the region has ever seen in the last
Okay, then you know nothing about fucking anything, all right? Then you wouldn't have gotten Bwippo, that overrated son of a bitch who has so many issues with teammates all the time. You would have kept Jensen, you motherfucker.
Also, let's bring up this point, because Travis, I guess, made this point last night on Hotline League. I don't watch Hotline League anymore. There's no benefit that show does to me anymore.
There's no benefit Travis Gafford does to anything in the league scene.
So, so this is what I'll bring up. I think Travis mentioned that Bjergsen and Core JJ don't mesh very well. Now, who's the sexy, good-looking black guy that has been saying Bjergsen has been a problem with teams for a while?
I don't know. Probably me.
We know Core JJ isn't bad. He played bad this year, but we know Core JJ is not a bad LCS player. Bjergsen wanted to play with him. Bjergsen also wanted to play with Hans Sama, right? Bjergsen and Core JJ are not meshing very well. Now, what did I say about Team Liquid coming into this year, guys? What did I say? I said Bjergsen's playstyle and how he sees the game is not going to mesh with someone on the team. I said it was Bwipo. Turns out it was someone else. I was in the right ballpark, actually. So I think they might keep one of the players from this roster. I think they're going with full rebuild right now.
They should keep Santorin. That's it.
Yeah, I think you just keep Santorin. You
mean,
could keep Bwipo.
No.
They did play through him at some points in the year, and it was kind of effective. But if you want to go in a full different direction, I think you get rid of Bjergsen because that guy's, I'm not gonna say he's a hack like JJ Abrams, but that remember Bjergsen coming in 1 year tanked Core JJ's brain on how he actually wanted to play the game. Factor that in. Core JJ had gotten Team Liquid to Worlds 3 years in a row from 2019 all the way to 2021. But the 1 year Bjergsen joins, there's problems there. And then Core JJ wants to get out.
Okay, but listen,
Steve,
imagine
please do not pick Bjergsen again. Please get rid of that overrated
Okay, but
hack.
listen, imagine he gets rid of every player though, and then Dig. Okay, and then say 100 Thieves wants to go young and start tenacity. Listen, imagine if Dig just picks up someday Santorin, Bjergsen, and then Sven, who roll swaps back to ADC. Imagine that roster. Hell yeah.
I think Sven is too real of a person for Bjergsen. I think he's a little timid for people like Sven.
Yeah, after that one time. Yeah, okay. Anyway, you know that scene in Goodfellas though where that bitch dumps like $500,000 of cocaine down the toilet on accident, and this is like Steve right now with this team.
In Worlds for so many times and falling short, going 3-3 in groups, and North America being the host for Worlds was such an incredible opportunity for the organization and for us to demonstrate our excellence and continue to build on our legacy as an organization. So when we built the roster, yes, we spent a lot of money. We also got commitment from a lot of partners. We convinced a lot of stakeholders at Team Liquid that this was the year, and I conveyed as much to all of the players that we were building something incredibly special. All great things come with.
This guy looks so sad. I feel so bad for him. I do, guys. I don't like seeing him like this. He looks so sad. It's like, hey man, you go big or go home. And Steve, of all people, should know that. I mean, you know, it's not one person's fault though. And even though I call Bjergsen an overrated hack, it's not one person's fault that this doesn't work. It's just sometimes in life, guys, things just don't work out. And that's just how life is, you know? Like certain things just don't pan out the way you think. But it was a mistake picking Bjergsen over Jensen. That definitely was a mistake. And then not only getting a player for another player that also wasn't as good as the player that he got rid of, not only that, it's now potentially making Core JJ want to leave. But if they go with their academy bot lane, we'll have to see how that goes.
With a certain
level says now that he has a residency, does not need to do Korean service. Core JJ.
I'm incredibly disappointed in our performance. I'm angry at myself for possibly not doing certain things. There's a lot of woulda, shoulda, couldas. There's a lot of regret, but we are where we are. And it's okay to feel that emotion as a fan, as an owner, as a player, but we can't sit in it for a long time. We have to get up and do something about it. And it kind of reminds me.
The thing here is, I know someone asked me in my comment section, I think, or someone else I talked to was like, what do you do about Bjergsen if you don't want to keep him? Because he was contracted for this year and next year, right? Well, potentially if Abadage's contract is up, or if Tukuli wants to be on FlyQuest, there's upgrades over Bjergsen. There's definitely better players than him right now in the mid lane. Blaze Olive looked better than Bjergsen at various points in this season too. You know? So that's my thing. I think
come on, Fudge roll swap looked better than Bjergsen. Let's be real.
So you also have I think people said Spica to Team Liquid. Spica was okay this year. I think he was fine, would that work better for TL than Santorin? I don't think so. I think
I will say, even though we had a dog shit team to work with kind of like for a lot of the season, like, and then improved, like, the issue it wasn't just being on like a weaker team. He was actually just struggling individually. Like, that aside.
I would personally just keep Santorin. I don't think there's a reason you would want to go with Spica.
I would just keep Santorin.
At worst, it's just a side grade. And the playoffs that we just saw the playoffs. Santorin played much better. It was like he was a big difference maker in why Team Liquid even got through those best of fives anyway, you know? So we'll just have to see how it plays out, actually.
Back when we had our forever fourth curse and being in that mental state where you don't want to read Reddit, you don't want to read Twitter, you have everyone telling you you suck and what you tried failed, and it doesn't feel great. But
too late for that, buddy. That you don't have to live in that.
Remember when they had players like Fabi?
Fuck! Don't remind me. Holy shit!
You rally and you figure out what's going to be next, and that's what we're doing. So that gets us to next year. The roster will be different, doubling down on some of the areas where we've seen incredible success so far, and also the opportunity to build players using the Team Liquid infrastructure rather than this concept of building super teams, which has always kind of worked for us to a certain degree, but I think times are changing. So we're going to be doing a lot of changes. We're in the thick of it this very moment. Every single day, I'm working very closely with the players and the staff to do right by everyone and hold our integrity in the highest regard on how we get to next year.
It's crazy. Sorry. Every contract's still on their books besides Core JJ. It's going to be hard. I mean, they're moving Han Sama to apparently fucking Carmine Corp. That's weird. Okay.
Only if Carmine Corp gets in the league too. That's the thing too. Is I think Han Sama only joins Carmine Corp if Carmine Corp get the LEC slot from Astralis.
They're leaving?
If the rumors are that Astralis might want to sell their slot, and if Carmine Corp is the person that they sell the slot to, then that be the reason why you'd bring in Han Sama, because why would Han Sama want to go in the EU Masters? That'd be ridiculous, right? It wouldn't make any sense, you know? Because it said specifically only if certain conditions are met. Only if certain conditions are met, you know? So that's my thing is people said Core JJ to 100 Thieves and Cloud9, because Core JJ's only one going to play for, you know, top LCS organizations. The others being EG, 100 Thieves, and Cloud9. The team's going to Worlds, right? Now, it all depends on if Sven still wants to play support or if he wants to play ADC again, you know? Or maybe Sven might go play support on another team at this point. Who knows, actually? I mean, it all depends on what Core JJ wants to do. I mean, it all depends on that. The thing here is, I think based off Core JJ's name value alone, it'll get him a team, because even Core JJ, who was playing bad this year, guys, playing legitimately not good, still was voted as like top 3 all-pro team, you know? That name value just speaks for itself, actually. So we'll have to see basically how that goes, you know? For Team Liquid right now, they're going to be going through a rebuilding phase, you know? We'll just have to see how it goes. They're going to definitely promote their bot lane, and this girl's going to definitely show me your tits later on. What the fuck? This girl's pretty. But, well, we'll have to see how it goes for Team Liquid. I mean, TSM is getting rid of Chowie and Kays from what I've been seeing online. That video is already done. I'll be having that video out for you guys, you know, later on tomorrow. And we're going to be wrapping up the show today. But I want to let you guys know this, because I know you guys kind of like watching on Twitch.
Private chat.
Oh, okay. Let me read it for a second. Okay. Oof. Yikes. Throw a rock at them. So
utter message because of that.
Okay. I think, yeah, CLG with Core JJ. I think CLG are just going to run their roster back. That's what I think. I think CLG will run their roster back because they saw some success with it, and it wouldn't make sense to kind of blow that up when you just had success. But we've seen certain teams do that if it could mean that they have a better player all around. Like, the only teams that I could realistically see him go to is Cloud9, 100 Thieves, and Evil Geniuses. That's what I think for Core JJ. I know you guys also kind of like watching on Twitch. We actually have a Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/C9 Master Swag King. That was the name of my main channel, actually. So let me just drop this for you guys. If you guys just want to watch on Twitch, if you guys have a Twitch account, here you go. We're going to be heading out of here really quickly because I got to get some stuff done for tonight. So here is the Twitch channel. If you guys want to go follow on Twitch, I know sometimes watching on YouTube is easier for the subscribers, but if you like watching on Twitch, here's the option for that as well, okay? Yeah, Huhi is a dirty inter. But yeah, I have a channel update video coming out for you guys. There's more content dropping for you guys. We're going to be starting a brand new series when Worlds 2022 puts out the first schedule for day one of the play-in stage games, actually. That's when the new series is going to debut. You're going to get more Cloud9 podcast episodes during Worlds 2022 because I really want to push a lot of content for League of Legends then, because we're not going to have a whole lot of content after Worlds is over other than talking about the aftermath of the event itself. And then I'll also be giving you guys just a bit more pre-recorded videos talking about like all the rumors and stuff like that, because it's just really cool to just speculate on where a player could go holistically. But if you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button because we are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. If you guys are watching on the replay, make sure you just, comment down below. Just do all that stuff, just comment, subscribe, and like. All I need you to do. That's all you need to do. And if you want to watch on Twitch, here is the Twitch link channel. I switch on right now. Nope. Got that done. So yeah, follow on Twitch. Here's the link for it right now. Putting it in the live stream chat. Hit the like button. Always appreciative. And subscribe if you are new, because we're going to be putting out a whole lot of more content. I really want to make this push for 1,000 subscribers because I think the channel should be at 1,000 subscribers by now, and I'm going to really make that push to get it there. The Cloud9 podcast is going to be every Wednesday, as you guys know, at around 3 p.m. PST. We're going to have an episode dedicated to like LCK, LPL, and LEC to kind of like bridge that gap.
Yes. So once the old Worlds and MVP and stuff talk that we do.
Oh, so soon.
I mean, if honestly, like, we don't have to if you don't want. Well, this old pro.
I'll probably supplement it with the top 10 LCS players that we could do.
Yeah, because I mean, we could just like say who our MVP most value is now. Like, honestly.
Okay.
Like, honestly, just my MVP. I mean, best player in the league would be. I'm gonna give it to Someday, and then most value player, I'm gonna give it to Inspired. He kept all the lanes down. Hardcore for EG, and then
we were supposed to debut
most improved player, I would say Contracts. And then,
we were supposed to debut the award of like best player versus MVP, because that was something that Sean brought up. I was like, no, that kind of makes sense having
and again, the same player can win both of those in some years, but I think that's good to have because people seem to confuse the two. It's like, remember in 2018 summer, Licorice was actually fucking at that point probably like the best player in the fucking league for Cloud9.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not have given him MVP because I mean, with the whole team in general is kind of just like playing good together. That miraculous run, like Double Lift on the other hand for Team Liquid was so valuable to their success. They played around Double Lift in like every game on Team Liquid in summer. In 2018.
So that is the last bit of updates for you guys. We're going to have Cloud9 podcast episodes to bridge between, now and Worlds 2022. There's going to be more pre-recorded videos coming up for you guys. Channel update video coming out for you guys. New series starting when I get that first day of games for Worlds 2022. That's when I drop the new series. And, just trying to push to 1,000 subscribers. I know it's been something I've been kind of lacking on, but, glad to have all the new subscribers that we just got. Can't wait to have more of you guys watching every single Wednesday. I'm gonna purposely go on boring rants and the same ones every stream, so then they unsub, so you never reach that goal. Good God, and that's why I don't like white people. But I do like Monte Cristo. He's definitely pretty awesome, But his partner,
I mean, I was about to say, I mean, I don't, Jesus Christ.
The partner he has is a little like give me some of that Hitler vibes, But
yeah. I mean, I think like it's it's gone in sad to the point with your career in esports when literally nobody cares about you anymore, gives a fuck about you anymore, and after doing so much terrible shit that because there's a thing in the league esports where people are like, unironically, like, if I see this person at fucking Worlds, I'm just gonna fucking beat the shit out of them. It has gone into the point though with Doran, nobody even cares anymore. Because he's done so much horrible shit, he's so irrelevant now, nobody cares anymore. They don't even have the nerve to at least put him on their people jackasses the fucking jump at Worlds this year, list. Like, they do not even care anymore about him. They're just like, yeah, go do whatever until you die from a heart attack, I guess.
Also, for anyone who's going to watch this, the reason why people are always down on Western teams, mostly down on most Western teams, is they just don't never do well at international events. Yeah, there are some years where like EU overperforms, and that's fine. But on average, most of the time, the LPL and the LCK teams are just better, and they actually win the events. Because you can overperform all you want, but if you don't win shit, it really doesn't matter. Like in the history books, when people watch the game back and see shit like this, they're not going to go, man, who really overperformed? No, they're going to look at who won the event. That's just kind of how that works, actually.
Yeah, I mean, people also do have biases against LCS and stuff. I do. Again, they'll never give them the credit or just always just that double standard. Like, as much as I love I Will Dominate, I mean, besides, I don't know why he fucking associates with Doran, that piece of shit still. But other than that, I like him. But the issue he has is this double standard with LCS in every other region. So listen, I'm not saying it's a good thing that, that LCS is not, okay, I'm not saying it's a good thing, like shit that happens here, LCS is not kind of bad like this, and this is not another reason for it, but literally every minor region and even their top teams have moments all the time throughout each split, including this summer split in games and even playoffs, especially in the LPL. So many playoff games I've watched in the LPL this year. They had like a 20k goal lead with 20 kills to 2 deaths, but it felt like there was a force field on the other team's base where they had to play like an extra 20 minutes and get like 10 aces to finally kill their Nexus, or they somehow choke it. They all get free passes, though. I Will Dominate will just be like, damn, the LPL is just that good. Oh, but with the NA, though, then he'll make a tweet like, only in NA would there be a game 5 with a 15k gold lead at 18 kills to 1 death with Baron and Soul, and it takes them 40 minutes to end. It's like, what the fuck is this double standard?
Well, the thing is that the problem here is most of those games you're talking about usually come from when a top team is facing another top team,
Yeah, that's so the same thing, and that's the same thing in LCS, so.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like,
I'm not saying it's good. It's not good for either, but I'm just saying,
I was bringing up a point as well, because this narrative is weird too. People always say that the LCS never experiments with anything; they just play the same shit. Then they try
bullshit. All right,
and then
Cloud9
this past split they experimented, but it's like, but these players aren't playing the experimentation good. You experiment to play. Fuck my brain, it can't handle it.
NA teams do it all the time. They never just. Let me tell you, all right, you people fucking dick suck, dick road G2 for their crazy drafts and strategies. Cloud9 has been doing that since they came in the league. Day one. They've done it before G2 with success as well internationally and everything. All right, shut the fuck. But you never gave them credit because they're from NA, right? Go fuck yourself.
It's just the thing of like, this past LCS split, you saw teams like CLG experimenting with Yone top and Akali mid. It was like people always shit on the LCS for not experimenting, being a boring region. It's like, no, teams were experimenting, but then people still shit on them for not doing as well. It's like, you can't win. You're like, just damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's just how that works, actually. Like, what can someone really do to really prove that they're trying to be different? I saw a bunch of NA teams trying out different stuff, but it's still not good enough, Now, it's just not about just trying out different comps and different strategies, you do eventually have to get good with that. But the fact that they're taking the initiative to try out different comps, to try out different champions, try out different strategies is good enough. Just taking that first step is always good, guys. Okay. But yes, I do want to say thank you to every single person who watched today. We had a pretty big turnout. We've been getting a lot of bigger turnouts, lately. Thank you guys for supporting. I've been very, very busy lately. If you want to see where I really always am, I'm usually always on my main YouTube channel. That's where I usually always am. And I want to say thank you to every single person that watched today. We're going to be heading out of here. Actually, got another 30 seconds, and then we are done. More content coming out for you guys.
Rest in peace to Misfits.
Misfits are over. Yeah.
Next week's episode. I'm sorry. It's just, I just hate it. So they've been.
Next week's episode will be just about the LEC because there was games that I just couldn't watch. Yeah. And I was kind of behind on some games.
I'm sorry. Why couldn't it have been XL? Why couldn't it have been fucking Why couldn't it have been fucking SK? Why miss? It's so unfair. The silver lining though is, they're fucking some of their ownership and their social media people are a bunch of fucking incels like Dunk. So, especially on the Florida Mayhem Overwatch side of things. So, it makes me happy to see that at least. But otherwise, fuck.
So. Yeah, guys, that's my last thing. Next week's episode is going to be at Wednesday, same time, like 3:30. Talking about the LEC, because there were some playoffs in the LEC. Playoff games I just didn't get a chance to see. I was in the know what was going on, but I had to watch more fully about what was going on to make accurate decisions on how I'm going to speak about these teams holistically. So that's pretty much it. All right, see you guys next week. If you're just only watching for the Cloud9 podcast, there will be other content coming out, but it's going to be hard to make content because, there's no games going on. But if there's like rumors, I can make videos about that.
We can make content, laughing at the idiotic C9 and TSM fans on Discord and Reddit. The brain dead fucking individuals.
Laughing at TSM fans. That sounds funny.
It's like they know nothing about actual team construction and player transactions. So it's just like, they're going to keep all 5 players. Yeah, sure. Cloud9 barely even made Worlds and, got shit on. These certain players did terrible, but they're going to keep the same players together. What do you mean about upgrades? What upgrades could they possibly get? It's not like they can get players like Berserker who can be better. Now they're going to keep spending the same ADC position. They're going to keep it's like fucking idiots.
Other thing, usually on like these TSM subreddits and shit, they'll be like, "Oh well, even if Cloud9 made it out of their group, it doesn't matter." It's like, but your team ain't making out shit. What? That's like when Jody. It's like remember? That's like when Jody told Eric about his Kia bulb. You're like, wait, what? It's like, wait, your team didn't get out of groups. Mine did, but you're not gonna win Worlds. No, any team should ever be winning Worlds. That's not the point. Yours just doesn't get out. The other team does.
Yeah,
impressive.
It's like that. Yeah, that's idiotic. But it's like they can't even brag about their regional success. The regional success that doesn't even fucking matter anyway. They can't even brag about that anymore because they're not even good at that anymore. And they're not about they're about to lose all their titles soon anyway. Fucking if Cloud9 just wins like one more, they'll basically be tied for the total amount in history. So they won't even be able to fucking. Even have that anymore. That's just pathetic.
All right, guys. Deuces.